Hello, and welcome to ThursdAI, the yearly recap edition of 2025. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases. As you can see, I'm in a very festive mood right now. And I would love to welcome my co hosts as well. If you're tuning in, no matter where you are, to our live show, welcome. We're going to have a great show today with a lot of updates. And first of all, I'm going to welcome the co-hosts here. Welcome Wolfram, welcome Yam, and we have LDJ. And I think we'll have a few more guests showing up. Just a super quick mic check. Everything fine? No echoes, nothing. We can go live. Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome everyone again. This is a very festive stream of us. It's our last live stream of the year, barring some crazy releases which will make us go, live and do a live reaction. But barring those, this is our last regularly scheduled stream of the year, and what a year it has been. And we are here to take you through a journey of the insane amount of releases that happened this year. Some of them will probably make you go, "Oh, it's been only a year since then." And so I'm very excited to kick off the show. Despite this whole week was kind of insane. Also, and it's been a crazy December, which made me, yeah, I needed to keep updating my kind of recap because every week of this crazy December, it kept releasing more and more AI stuff. So with that, this is the intro. If you've never been to the show, if you're tuning in for the first time, ThursdAI is a weekly AI news update show where me, Wolfram, Jan Peleg, LDJ, Nisten, and Ryan Carson, and a bunch of other folks, we just kick it. We just talk about AI releases and we vibe, test a bunch of stuff for you. And uh, this is a great way to get up to date so that you don't have to follow the Twitter timeline or the X timeline as much as we do. This is the purpose of the show. We've been doing this for over 2.5 years now, every week. This is our 52nd show of this year, I believe. We need to make sure either 51st or 52nd. Which means it's been a full year of ThursdAI yet again, and I'm very, very excited to talk about the recap of 2025. With this, I'll just say hello to our co-host Wolf from Ravenwolf. What's up, man? I see you have a Christmassy hat as well. I appreciate. As you guys see, my background there's Christmas in the air. Wolfram, how are you doing, man?
Amazing. What a year. What a year. And I have seen what you prepared for the show. So for everybody tuning in, this must have been so much work that Alex did. Definitely check this out.
Yeah,
It will
definitely
be
worth
a banger of a show.
staying tuned with us. The regular setup of the show will be, again, we will cover the first in the first section. We'll cover the week. We'll do it briefly. We're not going to go into a whole detail discussion about each topic, although there's a lot to discuss about even this week. And then we'll continue into the yearly recap, where we'll take turns and talk about what happened this whole year. With this, Jan Peleg, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. AI never sleep, so we never sleep. Kind of how it works at the moment. And yeah, it was a hell of a year, like for real. I mean, just going through the notes of what we're going to cover. I mean, you start to realize, like, well, all of this happened this year, and it's not that. It's just like things that you got used to were like a couple of months old. You start to realize that, and yeah, we're accelerating pretty hard, really hard. That's
The
great.
year we felt the acceleration. LDJ, how are you doing, man? Is everything great with the cat in space?
Yep, everything's going good. It's been an amazing year, and great for us to still be doing this whole podcast thing for what's about over 2 years now, right?
Over 2.5 years. Yeah, we're coming up
Yeah,
on
it's
3 in
crazy.
March. Yeah.
But yeah, amazing progress, and hopefully 2026 will have even more exciting updates in AI.
Yeah, you guys don't want to slow down. You don't want to like less news. Okay.
Accelerate.
Accelerate. Yes, our acceleration features are brought to you also by AI powered because AI also runs the show, folks. So for those who are listening, for those who are tuning in to the weekly podcast that's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else on YouTube, those who are watching the weekly video recap, so not the live show, but the edited version as well, all of that is super powered by AI. I would not have been able to do this. Honestly, the show evolved from the past 2.5 years because AI also evolved. It allows us to do that much more. And we'll show you some of the stuff that AI allows us to do, including some very beautiful visual infographics that we'll share with you here because, well, there's a lot to cover, and this information needs a visual treatment as well. All right, joining us, a friend of the show for the yearly recap, Quindla Haltman Kramer, CEO of Daily and maintainer of Pipecat, this incredible library for AI voice. It's been also a heck of a year in voice agent as well. Quinn, welcome to the show. Welcome back, man. It's always great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Congratulations on another year.
Thank you. It's been quite an incredible year. And so I'm very, very happy that you're here with us, coming through loud and clear as well. Folks, definitely give Quinn a follow if you're interested in any voice news. And also, we have some news from this week that we'd love for you to cover. Grok came out of nowhere with some state-of-the-art stuff. There's a bunch of other things. So would love to chat with you about this and also hear about how AI evolved this year as well. And then, we'll have more folks on the show. But I think in the spirit of getting the show on time, which hopefully we'll be able to do, as there's a lot to cover, I think it's time to start with kind of the TLDR of this week's news, and then we'll dive in. Most of all, though, I want to call out that we already have quite a few folks in comments commenting. I love this comment specifically from Milos. He says, the best thing this week is the Let It Snow feature in AI Studio. If you go to AI Studio, they added the button, you click it, and then the snow goes on your chats. And I agree, it's kind of a dope feature. So shout out to AI Studio folks for all of the hard work they did this year. I actually don't think it's in my releases, but kind of AI Studio was definitely a huge thing this year for AI. So shout out to the folks in AI Studio. Alrighty, just to shout out, we also have a Twitter space running with a bunch of folks there. So welcome folks on the Twitter space. I'm gonna just make sure that you guys have access to the video, and then we can get started. I don't think we'll do the one. Okay, so every week we do one thing in AI that must be named at the beginning of the show. I'm tempted to start to ask you one thing for the year, the most important thing. It's gonna be very difficult, but why not? Why not? This is a celebratory show. I wonder who I start with. I'll start with LDJ. LDJ, what was the one most important release of AI this year for you? I'm sorry, this is unprepared, by the way, this segment. I should have told guys.
Sure, yeah.
When I asked them. LDJ, go ahead.
Here, I'll just say at least something that's been on my mind lately from throughout this year that I feel like is at least underrated, and something we don't talk about that much on this show, which is like advancements happening in safety research and improvements happening in being able to detect things in models. And over the past, I think it's mostly over the past 6 months, there's been a line of research I find pretty interesting that shows where you can detect the features through mechanistic interpretability within models of the features correlating with the model kind of knowing that it's in the test or knowing that it's in the benchmark as opposed to the real world. And then, of course, that would alter its behavior in that. But then further research showing that you can try and suppress those features, and then it actually improves with the model actually acting more in the benchmarks like it would in the real world. But then there's issues with the model sometimes being able to introspect in a way of the fact that it is being manipulated in that way. So then further research showing that you can actually suppress those behaviors of the model and stop it from actually being able to know that its weights are being manipulated. So it's a funny inception there, but I think it's exciting safety work happening there that's not really talked about much.
Awesome. That's a great call out that we definitely don't cover as much, although new Opus definitely had a few kind of like new updates about this. There's something about the soul of Opus as well we should definitely cover. All right, let's go to Jan Peleg. Jan, what is let's say, the most surprising or the most important or the coolest AI release of this whole year for you? I think I know what this is, but like,
this whole, okay, yes. Let's see.
I think. Well, I want to hear it first, and then I'll tell you if I think I was right.
Look, it's not hard to guess. I think the major thing this year are in general CLI agents, specifically Cloud Code starting the thing, with a huge explosion, leading to the huge explosion we see at the moment, and pretty much the year of the agents, as everyone was talking about, started because of this, and I think that's huge. Seriously, it's just a huge paradigm shift in the entire thing. I can talk about this for hours, so let's just continue with the TLDR because it needs to be short. But yeah, if you ask me, definitely Cloud Code and CLI
I knew you'd say Cloud Code. It was clear as day to me. But yes, I think it's definitely a very important release of this year. Let's go to Quinn, and feel free to give it your audio spin, or to do something outside, something that the release that surprised you this year was the most important of 2025.
I'm going to give it an audio spin on Claude Code because it's 100% Claude Code for me. Like absolutely transformative.
Yeah.
Showed what you can do. But for me also, the overlap between how people are thinking about building long-running agents for code and other things and how we build voice agents has been the single most fun thing in 2025. Voice agents are not anymore just like a single inference loop. We were sort of early on the agents in general with voice because you have to run these multi-turn conversations as loops. And what we learned pretty early is you often want to do other things outside the loop, and you want to augment the loop, and you want to do context engineering, and you got to give the model the right tokens. And so seeing the progress in the coding agents and the progress in the voice agents use a lot of these same techniques, just as somebody who wants to build this stuff, has been so much fun. But Claude Code just proving like, yeah, the models really matter, but sometimes it's about the harness, and maybe mostly it's about the harness. That's, for me, that's the transformative thing. Like Yam said, year of the agents actually came true. We were all like, 2025 is going to be the year of the agents, and it was actually true.
Yeah. The year of the coding agents, the year of the voice agents, the year of the maybe browser use tool agents as well. All right, let's go to, who didn't we cover? Wolfram, I think it's your time. And also, we'll say hello just before Wolfram starts sharing his AI best thing in the year. We'll say hello to Ryan Carson. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Good morning, everybody.
We'll get to you. We'll get to you in just a second. So prepare your most important AI release of the year, please. All right, Wolfram, what about you?
So this isn't easy because there have been so many cool things, and I had the most time to think about it. First, I thought of which model to name, but models come and go. Tools like Claude Code, they stay much longer. But I think a big paradigm shift was happening in image. And it may not be the most important release, but it was definitely one of the most significant ones for a lot of people, which is Nano Banana and Nano Banana Pro, where you had more controls than you ever had about the images. Even my background here, I reworked and improved with Nano Banana Pro. So that is useful. Or your infographics that we will see in a moment. So these things, they have been very difficult before with the image generation models, and this was a major leap. So I think that has, for a lot of people, a big impact.
Yep. I absolutely agree. I agree with all of you, by the way. I don't know if I'm gonna get to choose just one, but this is kind of my job here as a moderator to make you sweat, not myself sweat. All right, Ryan. One thing this year that absolutely blew your mind, the most important thing that happened in the world of AI.
Absolutely, Opus 4.5. It is unbelievable. I just tweeted about this. It really, really is a step change. I've been coding with an LLM for over 700 days now, like every day, and it is significantly different. You can ship a full feature on a mature code base in one day. Always. It's just mind-blowing.
It's so good. It's so good. I've been working on the infographics that you guys will see. I've been working on a bunch of stuff on the research agent, like a bunch of things. And I keep reverting back to Opus, despite it being more expensive, despite it being slower than other things. I just keep reverting back to Opus. and just like something like just like draws me over. And it's I don't think if you ask me for, hey Alex, write an eval or a benchmark to explain why you're going there, I'd be able to. I don't know what kind of like crazy magic they added there. And it's not Sonnet, it's Opus. And it's been Opus since before the previous Sonnet, it's been the previous Opus as well. So something there, some magic thing they add there. I love GPTs, I use them all the time. You know, the interesting thing, it's not enough to make me unsubscribe from ChatGPT and go to Cloud AI and subscribe there. It's not enough. But for my coding stuff, for agent stuff, Cloud Opus is absolutely just remarkable in an unexplainable way. I agree with you. This wasn't mine though this year. Nano Pro was incredible. It wasn't mine this year, I don't think. Although I think it's very, very, very close. I think mine would be the agentic browsers era. I think and I talked about this back when ChatGPT Atlas launched, and a little bit before when Perplexity Comet launched, which for some reason to me feels less native. I can't explain why. I've been participant in the browser war of Internet Explorer 6 when Chrome came, and like Chrome was new to many people. This was my whole career back then, to like fix sites and move them from one thing to another. For me to see that the web now is used by AIs and you can just like sit back and watch. We're talking about the year of agents in code. There was also a year of agents in give me just one sec. This was also a year of agents in browser use, and I think it's absolutely incredible to just sit back and watch. And at first, like with an autonomous car, be wowed at, yo, this clicks things, this drags things, oh my god, this like clicks the buttons, and then very, very quickly after this, get used to the fact that like you have this power now, and then start complaining about this. I think it's like very, very indicative of how fast the what is it called? We have like this ability to get used to stuff, how fast we get used to great stuff that we have. And so AI browser, I think, is very indicative. It's a really hard task to do, by the way. Just a year ago, this browser would not even get you past like the first page. It was like really, really hard. And now they're going off on 30 minutes doing tasks. And then in the 31st minute, they get stuck and you're like, come on, bro, I could have done it without you. So it's very interesting, and I think we're just going to see more and more of these agents going. So browsing agents is it for me. Generally, a year of agents, I think, feels like a cross overall, and then they are getting better and better because Opus and other stuff. Alrighty, folks, I think it's time for the TLDR for this week. We'll start with this week, which was great. I don't have everything. I'll just be very, very clear. The purpose of the TLDR this week was not, hey, we'll do an exhaustive recap of everything that happened, nor is our ability to do so exist at this point. Some weeks I'm looking, I was like, hey, we can tell you about this, but honestly, it's time for us to also start moderating because everything is impossible. It used to be that we covered everything. It used to be like every small AI release, every paper. It used to be that at the end of this year, though, the labs are accelerating. So let's start with TLDR this week. And feel free to call out very important things that I missed as well, folks, here. Yeah, let's do the TLDR, and then we'll do the yearly recap. The TLDR will be a little bit more extensive. So we'll talk about each thing as we mentioned this right now, and then we'll go to the year of AI. Let's go. This is the TLDR, the quick recap of this week in AI of December 18, 2025. We still have, what are we going to have left in this year? And even this week, the labs decided, hey, we're not going to, let it go gently. Not as intense as last year, maybe with 12 days of OpenAI AI, but still fairly intense. So we have big AI releases. And then let's run through them super quick. Again, for folks who are just listening, your host today is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases, who is the only sponsor of the show. With me, co-host Wolfram Ravenwolf, Jan Peleg, Nisten did not join us for some reason. LJ is here, Ryan Carson, and a special guest is Quindla Haltman Kramer today to cover with you the end of this year. In open source, I think the most important release of this week in open source was NVIDIA Nemotron 3 Nano, which was pretty much everywhere. Nemotron is a series of models from NVIDIA, and it's been them pushing the efficiency updates and the fine-tune innovations and pruning and distillations, etc. So there's been a lot of stuff that NVIDIA does incredibly well. So Nemotron 3 Nano is a 30 billion parameter with 3 active Mamba MOE model. Anything we need to say about this model, folks? If anything that you want us to get into super quick?
Look how amazing your infographic is. Just going to point that out.
We're not even started yet, but yes, thank you. Yes. So what from this infographic, we can just tell you, the whole point of this infographic is for me to like be able to just like show something visual on stage, and also to have actual, actual data points with example like 23 Mamba layers and 23 MOE layers and 6 attention layers. This is beautiful. It visualized the whole transformer.
For me, the most exciting thing in open source this whole year is NVIDIA really leaning into open weights and open data sets and open models. They're doing a lot of great stuff on the voice side too, with the parakeet models and other stuff they're working on. Having NVIDIA, like the most valuable company in the world that makes all the GPUs, being really all in on open source is just so exciting.
It's so great. And them showing like, hey folks, here's how to actually use our GPUs for open source. I absolutely agree with you. So this is in open source. Shout out to the folks. We have a few friends of the show working for NVIDIA, working on Nemotron. So shout out to those folks. Anything so 1.5 to 3x faster inference than competing models like Qwen 3 while maintaining competitive accuracy on H200. So they're also like fine-tuning these models to run on the incredible NVIDIA GPUs, which then companies like CoreWeave that owns Weights and Biases and I work for also sells to other customers. Just a small shout out there. 99% on AI Meet 25 using tools. It's kind of like doing a math test at school and using a calculator though. So I'm not like super impressed when AIME is very high with tools. However, again, this is a 30 billion parameter model that solves almost 100% of one of the most difficult math tests. So very interesting release from NVIDIA here. 1 million context length and a bunch of languages there as well. 25. This is also a thing that I want to call out. This is a small call out. Trained on 25 trillion tokens in total. Throughout the show, folks, throughout the year and throughout the past few years, we've seen the training data set sizes grow from 1 trillion, 5 trillion. I remember like the Llama models were trained on around 15 trillion tokens, and now 25 trillion tokens for this open source model for a small model. It's just like absolutely insane. Like a third of, like 1/5 of this was synthetically generated, and NVIDIA released all of the pre-training and post-training datasets publicly. So shout out to NVIDIA. We actually have an applause button when this happened, because I think everything was open sourced here. Everything, like pre-training datasets and post-training datasets and the flows. So the next up models for NVIDIA is Nemotron 3 Super and Nemotron 3 Ultra. Super is 120 billion parameter model, 4x than this Nano, and Ultra is 480, almost half a trillion parameters, and this is like 16x size. Artificial analysis ranked at number 1 in its class. So I love this. I love the in its class thing. Everybody's talking about like we're number 1 in our class. Who invented the class? They did. But artificial analysis gives a great score for this as well. So this is NVIDIA Nemotron. Any interesting things, folks, that you want to call out for Nemotron? Anything that we must mention besides the shout out to the team?
I guess the main thing is they're kind of pushing more the hybridization of layers and incorporating things like Mamba layers into the models. And there's been a lot of skepticism of that over the past year or so since the original Mamba paper came out. And some people feel like even though the benchmarks look pretty high, like the vibes are sometimes kind of off. But hopefully people end up testing more specifically these Nemotron models and kind of giving more of those vibe tests and more diverse types of situations where we could actually compare these, because I feel like there's still not really consensus yet of really how these models feel in the real world.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for this. We have a question if we're not streaming on YouTube today. We're live on YouTube, folks, right? Like people can see us. It says we're live. Somebody please check. Would be very happy if somebody tells me. I think
I checked, and we are live.
We are live. Yes. So everybody who's watching us on only Twitter, we're absolutely live on YouTube. Please join us. We're not only live on YouTube. We're live on both vertical and horizontal. It depends on your device, apparently. I don't know how that works, but we have 2 live streams on YouTube. One of them is for only horizontal folks. All right. Some vibe checks from the community, super quick on this release. Avni Hanoun, the great Avni Hanoun from the MLX that runs stuff on Mac, says that real-time generation with 30 tokens on M4 Max with 4-bit quantization for this model. Other folks are reverse engineering on the MacBook. Folks are running this on AMD. Very interesting. NVIDIA models running on AMD stuff. Onslaught. The folks on Onslaught have a guide on how to run and quantize this with GDF quantizations and Phantom. Yeah. Alrighty, let's continue in open source. I think this is it in open source from the big ones, unless folks tell me that I missed like a big open source release. This week looks like has been this week has been like more on the big labs.
I
do have one actually.
You have one?
Oh, go ahead. You go first, Wolfram. You have 2.
I have 2. You can go first, so maybe it's one of those.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So there's Balmo from Alex AI, and a Balmo is similar to the Almo 3 models, except it's apparently the first byte level models. So like essentially byte level encoding, byte level tokenization, and the first of such a kind of model that actually reaches parity with similar size models that are of regular tokenization. And so that's really interesting, and that could open up new possibilities for just overall things like accuracy of spelling or editing precise components of code bases, or on a broader point, this can open up a better windows towards omnimodality, because ultimately everything is bytes. And so, images are bytes, audio is bytes, everything is bytes. I think it might need a little bit more research work before it's fully omnimodal in the way I just described, but it's really exciting nonetheless.
Yep. So this is Bomo. Shout out to Allen Institute for AI. And then let us continue to, let's see.
One of the 2 I had is also from Alex AI, which is Molmo 2, which is also released from them, multimodal with video input, 3 sizes, 4B, 7B, 8B. The 4B and 8B are based on Qwen 3, and the 7B is their own Olmo backbone. The interesting thing here is that it is multimodal, so you can give it in a video, for instance, and ask it how many times does the ball hit the ground. And it will not only give you the answer, but it will mark this on the images, so you can find the precise coordinates on the video where the ball hits the ground, so you can verify it yourself very easily. So that is a big feature of this one. So Alex AI with Molmo 2.
Yep.
And the other release I had that is from Xiaomi, the Mimo V2 Flash. What are the names? Olmo, Bolmo, and now Mimo V2 Flash. It's an MOE, 309B total parameters, 15B active. And in the benchmarks, it was very close to DeepSeek V3.2. And pretty good model according to the benchmarks. Haven't tried it myself yet. Just released. Came out 2 days ago, I think. Yeah. So just mentioning them.
And it also uses hybrid attention like Nemotron.
Mimo does? Yeah, hybrid attention, 5-to-1 interleaved layers.
Oh, sorry. Actually, this is not in the same way Nemotron is. I think they're not actually using necessarily like state space model layers here. They're using hybrid in a different sense, but still really interesting. Yeah.
Very fast model comparing intelligence, which we have, or we will be talking about with Gemini 3 Flash, the intelligence per speed in a way, which model is fast enough and smart enough. So this is one in the entries for that.
Alrighty, folks. Let's see. Yam, you also sent something. Is this also open source that we need to cover?
Yeah, we have something from Apple actually.
What?
Yeah. If it was this week, I wasn't sure. You don't know what is being released each week.
For sure.
Anyway, we got from Apple. We got Sharp. Let me see if I can. Maybe I'll just show you. Okay, so we got. Oh, you don't see. Okay, so.
There we go.
Okay, so whatever you can see. Yeah. Anyway, we got Sharp from Apple. Basically, TLDR. It allows you to do photorealistic view synthesis from a single image in high resolution. I just saw it at the moment. So I can't comment too much about exactly how it works behind the scenes. But if you are interested in super resolution from a single image, then go check it out. That's what I have at the moment. So
awesome. Alrighty, so Sharp from Apple. Alrighty, let's continue with the TLDR from after open source. So we've covered a bunch of stuff. Thank you, folks, for the additional information. I think one of the biggest releases in AI this week was Google's Gemini 3 Flash. We absolutely must bow to Google's ability to just like release this. I think they had this Flash thing when Gemini 3 Pro launched, and they just kind of like sat on it. So Gemini 3 Flash is the frontier class model that runs with pro level intelligence at Flash level speeds. Flash is obviously Google Gemini's smaller, a bit less capable, but significantly faster and significantly cheaper intelligence. So many folks use Flash for real time stuff, and it's just 50 cents per 1 million input tokens. It's quite remarkable, folks. Any comments on Flash as we get into this?
Yeah, this is so exciting. So I used a 2.5 Flash in prod, like as my primary intelligence model. It was so good. And now that 3's out, I just can't wait. The price to intelligence ratio is off the charts with these Flash models. And man, just Gemini is just giving us these gifts. It's so good.
Price to intelligence is absolutely ridiculous. 50 cents per 1 million tokens, $3 per output million tokens. But it's like significantly outperforming Cloud Sonnet 4.5, I think, on a bunch of benchmarks. I think the very interesting thing for me is that this Flash model, the time to first byte is like super quick as well. It is beating Gemini 3 Pro that was just released a few weeks ago on Sweetbench Verified and on, I think, MMMU Pro as well. I think it's now state of the art of multimodal reasoning, I believe, with 81% on MMMU and where's my stat for 78 on Sweetbench Verified.
Alex, can I just show the table? I have it open.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when you okay, that's pretty small. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Okay, you have to believe me because I can't show you the entire table at the same time because you can see. TLDR. You basically have Gemini Pro 3 ability on many different benchmarks in a fraction of the price and speed and the speed. Like that thing is impressive. Gemini Pro was released a month ago, and we were all cheering up because you broke all the benchmarks, and you saw ArcAGI, the point of Gemini is like out of the chart before that, and a month later you get that much faster, much cheaper in a smaller model.
That's
just
progress.
Like that.
That shows how the progress has been happening. And interesting, you show it right now on the screen. The price has been increased from Gemini 2.5 Flash, so it's a little more expensive now. But you get so much better model. And I think it can't be overstated how many people will be affected by this. It powers the Google search. It is what powers the Gemini assistant. So I'm talking to it. It's my most used model, actually, because I use the assistant all the time. And now it got a super intelligence boost. That is super amazing. And many people don't even have access to Pro because they are not paying customers. And now they got the free tier has a lot of users. And so a lot of people will get a big IQ boost through AI that way. So it will be, this is a model that will affect a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I think we maybe should title the show 2025 is the comeback year for Google. I mean, if you see the ramp from where we laughed, in January to where we are now with Gemini 3 Flash, it's just astonishing. And the product rollout, like it's actually good to be watching Gemini in workspaces. You've got it in Gmail, you've got it in Docs, like it's everywhere, and it's good.
I want to call out the thing about Google that we are noticing this year is that not only are they releasing their models, they're now coming out across all of their products simultaneously. So Gemini 3 Pro was released and was available almost everywhere at once, and then Gemini 3 Flash is now available in AI search. Shout out to Robbie Stein, a friend of the pod who came on the pod multiple times to talk about AI search, AI mode back before it was released. Now Gemini 3 Flash powers that. It powers like Wolfram said, powers like most of Google, and it's available immediately upon release pretty much across the Google stack. And it's not a small feat for Google. It's a huge company with a vast product surface area, just vast. Let's think about just the AI stuff is anti-gravity. There's Gemini inside Chrome right now, which I only noticed because I turned on Chrome for the show for the X Spaces, and now I have a little Gemini button in my menu bar on Mac. This is new. I haven't seen this before. And then you just talk to Gemini. So yeah, Gemini is everywhere in the Android devices. So just very, very impressive show of force to Google. It took them a year, but they're showing up in an incredible way. 100%.
And
they're showing it now.
They fixed tool calling in Gemini 3. I mean, that was the biggest gap for me. I'm with Ryan that Gemini 2.5 Flash was my go-to for a whole lot of agentic stuff. And you could crank up the thinking budget and it would do kind of everything I wanted it to do. But for low latency stuff with thinking budget of 0, everybody knew Gemini had a tool calling issue. It was just not as good as their competitor models. Gemini 3 Flash saturates my personal benchmarks with minimal reasoning.
Wow. And is this correct? The thing about 100 simultaneous function calls? I've seen this in my infographic based on some research that it did, but I haven't seen the 100 simultaneous one as a concept.
I'm just going to say I never want a model to do that. This is that AI researcher thing where they threw something in that they wanted a hill climb on, and they were super excited about it. I'm like, that's really cool, but please, no, I don't want my model to do that.
Absolutely. All right, folks. LDJ, I think you have comments on Flash as well. LDJ.
Sorry, I was double muted. Yeah. So I think something exciting to look forward to in regards to Flash is if you look at the details of the Nano Banana Pro release, they confirmed the original Nano Banana is based on a Gemini 2.5 Flash, and then the Nano Banana Pro model is based on the model of Gemini 3 Pro. And so now we have Gemini 3 Flash. Now imagine the new image capabilities we might be able to get with way faster speeds than Nano Banana Pro. I think that's something exciting that we might see in the next few months.
I think next 2 months. This could come very, very
few weeks, or next few days.
Yeah. All right, folks.
Yeah, at the end of the year with the recap, I think it's for me, Google has been the winner of 2025. That is my impression here. So they had a slow start, and OpenAI was all at the top, and now, bam, they started this rocket. Maybe when Logan joined, then there was a change of mind. You really feel it where they are going all in with AI instead of being hesitant and holding back. Now it's getting everywhere, all over Google, and that's the acceleration, and I love it.
I absolutely agree with you. And this is a party now. Everybody in attendance, welcome Nistan to the show as well. And it looks like we're stretching the limits of how many people at one place this streaming software can add. Nistan, we're talking about Gemini 3 Flash. Any super quick comments on this?
I said at some point a year or a year and a half ago that Google is the turtle that might win the race. But what blew me away now is they just enabled it for all the Google Home appliances. So if you had something from 6 years ago, that just became way smarter than whatever you had. So they just won the distribution, I think, because then they have all the Android phones as well. That was just a slow strategic war from Google.
Yep. Google is absolutely. I remember. Do you guys remember? I think it was maybe a year and a half ago. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, said, we want to show Google the 800-pound gorilla that we want to invite them to dance, and I think we made them dance. This was when they released kind of Bing or Copilot or whatever. It's very clear to me now who's the gorilla in the room, and they're dancing. So any technical points that we didn't cover in Gemini 3 Flash yet? So priced aggressively, we talked about this. Artificial analysis, 71, their intelligence index, 13 points up from Gemini 2.5 Flash. Arc price was a very distinct jump. It's 84% on Arc AGI 1, and it's a very cheap 17 cents per task, which is significant. And beating Gemini Pro at SweBench verified at 78%. This is also a agentic coding model, specifically agentic coding model that is fast and cheap as well. 90% on GPK Diamond, which means it has a big world knowledge database, and it's been probably trained together with Pro and some capacity, and also it's very, very high on MMMU Pro, the multimodal reasoning. So the thing that we kind of here on the show, we tell you, hey, this model is for that, this model is for this. I can absolutely tell you that, to me, nothing beats Opus 4.5 in creative writing, in prompt generation, etc. But for things like multimodality, Gemini is absolutely the king. Gemini models can view videos, can do a bunch of stuff. They're just absolutely the reigning champion in multimodality. And now you pretty much get the same power from this very cheap, very fast model as well, if you want to have it view images or video. This is just absolutely a powerhouse of a model.
And multilinguality is also amazing with this model. Even the smaller ones, the Flash and so on, like this one, the smaller models are not as good in all the different languages. But when I tested Flash, the new one, the 3 Flash, I couldn't see a difference to the 3 Pro. So that is amazing. Whereas even the new OpenAI model, GPT 5.2, is still in multilinguality. They must have, I don't know what they trained it on, but it has regressed actually. Whereas this is super strong now.
Yep.
And the tool use. Don't forget that Google has Gmail and Google Notes, Google Calendar. You don't even need MCP for that. It is directly in the model. If you use it, you can directly tell it to set a note in your calendar, check your mails and stuff like that. It just works out of the box, and it reaches so many people who have no idea what MCP is, and they can use this. That is the reach Google has.
A crazy reach, and definitely a great model release. Alrighty, folks. We're gonna move on to OpenAI's launch from this week. We've been waiting for this. OpenAI launches GPT Image 1.5, which is, we kind of all thought it's going to be GPT Image 2. This was rumored as coming. Basically, we're long ways away from DALL-E 1 and DALL-E 2. DALL-E 2 for me was the image model from OpenAI that kind of kickstarted everything, followed by Stable Diffusion. It was a while ago. GPT Image 1.5 is 4 times faster than the previous image generation and 20% cheaper. You guys remember, we're going to cover this in the Year of AI very, very soon. The very big splash that GPT Image made with giblifying everything. They went super viral. This is that model just on steroids, 4 times faster, 20% cheaper. They claim number 1 on LMC Arena, although I and other people call bullshit, because literally Nano Banana is just incredible. What you're seeing on the screen right now is generated with Nano Banana. GPT Image cannot come close to this. It tries, it really does, and you can see how quickly we do the hedonistic adaptation thing, where we just get a new thing and we adapt, and everything else looks pale in comparison. So if you see the infographic on the screen, just crisp and sharp, every text is placed perfectly. This is not the case with GPT Image 1.5, although it tries. So I think that they try to benchmark on this image model. Folks on the stage, any reactions to GPT image 1.5? Anybody play with this? It's way better preserving subjects as far as I saw.
I don't know why you wouldn't use Nano Banana. Sorry. It's just so it's so good. Sorry. And it's fast and it's amazing. So I used it like once. It just doesn't matter to me.
I will say there's one reason for sure. There are folks who don't have access to Nano Banana Gemini, or they need to pay for Gemini and they want to, or they don't know that Gemini can do images, although Google is really, really good at like shoving Nano Banana in everybody's face everywhere. But yeah, that's a very good question. This is a legit, very good question. LDJ, go ahead.
So I tested it, and I have some friends that tested it a good bit. And my conclusion thus far is that sometimes it can actually look significantly better than Nano Banana, but sometimes it's significantly less. And I'd say overall more inconsistent, and I guess you could say more spiky than Nano Banana, and kind of more unpredictable. And it doesn't really seem to be in directly any specific domains. Like I would say maybe a GPT image seems to take more creative liberties and sometimes is better in that way, but Nano Banana being more precise with like sticking to specific constraints. But overall, it's even like with photorealistic images, if you're like, hey, create a photorealistic image of my friends at a party in 2006, it's like I'll run that test against Nano Banana and GPT, and sometimes the GPT image is much better, sometimes it's much worse, and you just kind of have to run it multiple times.
Yep. My gut check on this is that it's great that they released this. They worked on this new model. It's significantly cheaper. It still looks like AI to me, whereas Nano Banana can generate like actual realistic images that look very, very good. So definitely something we would test out on the show if we had time. But no, we're gonna move to Year of AI very, very soon. Let's continue with the TLDR, folks. We're still in the TLDR section of this week, as the recap of this whole year is coming very soon. So this one is available everywhere. Still GPT-4o based. So this is not GPT-5 yet, which also kind of is a boon for Gemini 3. Nano Banana Pro is powered by Gemini 3, which is like a great intelligence. You can throw pages of prompt at it. Literally, I can show you some of my prompts. They're like 3 pages long, and like so it's very telling that OpenAI is no longer in the lead for some of these models. DALL-E was absolutely in the lead, and then GPT image, when it released with the Giblify thing, even though we could Giblify some stuff, was absolutely in the lead just a few good months ago, and now they're chasing. All of them are chasing. Flux 2 was released, Flux Pro Max or something, Flux Max. Nobody cared. Like I honestly, with all my love with BFL and the folks from Stable Diffusion before and their open sourcing and everything, I didn't even include this in my TLDR this week because just now Banana is just like that good. And also, I did mention this on X. Flux has the worst timing of releases ever. They released Flux Dev just when, like a week after Nano Banana, and before Z Image, which is like super fast, much cheaper, and looks the same. And then now they're releasing the max version when GPT Image 1.5 releases. Just like the worst timing for the folks at BFL Labs. We're sorry. We're gonna continue into voice and audio, which is great to have Quinn here always, because this is a very, very good. This week was big. This week was big on voice and audio. So let's talk about Grok Voice. Quinn, you want to cover this one? Have you had a chance to look at this?
Yeah, so super exciting. I mean, to have Grok really training this voice model, and it feels like they optimized it for like the Tesla use case, where it's a question and an answer. And you can see that because partly because the Big Bench audio result, which is not a multi-turn benchmark, it's a hard audio Q&A benchmark, but it's not multi-turn. So I think it's super exciting. It's not what I think we are going to be using for the multi-turn conversational voice agents yet, but to have this kind of competition in the speech model is great.
So XAI, thank you, Gwen. XAI released Grok Voice agent in the API. They've been training Grok Voice for a while now. They constantly hammer on the topic that like their prosody is better in blind tests versus like ChatGPT and other things, and multilinguality is quite dope. And so they finally released this in the API so developers could use this. They claim number 1 on Big Bench audio, like Quinn said, which is speech-to-speech reasoning, 92% accuracy there as well. They claim that it beats Google Gemini 2.5/native audio, which just released a week ago also. So the voice area is also heating up. Capability capabilities, they support 100 plus languages as far as this release shows. And the Tesla thing that you mentioned, it is now powering millions of Tesla vehicles. If you are driving a Tesla, there's a button with the microphone on it on the steering wheel. Press it once. This is the regular Tesla kind of voice thingy. And if you hold it, you actually talk to Grok. And that has been improving significantly. In this release, I think they mentioned that this also can control some stuff in Tesla with deep tools integration. So like you can navigate you a bunch of places as well. Entire voice stack is built on scratch with custom VAD and tokenizer and audio models and end-to-end optimization. Very, very impressive. And at a very cheap 5 cents per minute flat rate. 5 cents per minute compared to what, 10 cents per minute on OpenAI and 8 on DeepSeek. They're claiming to be also the cheapest one around.
So on that front, I have a Tesla, and I talked to Grok a lot, and I actually did like a marketing review of my website with Grok on the way to pick up my kid yesterday, and it's so good. So it obviously has browsing tooling. It's great.
It really is very impressive, and now it's available for folks to build this. And I don't know if Wolfram brought his, but Hugging Face started sending out the robots, the Richie Mini robots, and they need voice. And yeah,
Mine right here.
Yeah, come on, show us the little baby. Mine is on the way. Yeah, oh, we can see it's connected. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's turned off right now, so
yeah.
it doesn't.
So this is kind of the open source robotics from Poland Robotics, and Grok for voice agent API is kind of like folks are saying, hey, this is a great way to try to power this. Although we do have Quinn here, and Quinn can tell us what are the better ways to power these robots.
I have some PipeCat code for those robots coming later this week. Weekend project.
Oh, let's go. I'm waiting for this. All right, I'm waiting to build mine with some PipeCat code. So I think the optimization for Tesla, I think, is very, very important there. Native tool calling enables real-time X search. This is, I keep saying this, folks, and I will keep repeating this as much as folks will hear me. I think that unfortunately, as it is, where the algorithm on X has declined for some of us and up for somebody else, it doesn't really matter. X remains the place for real-time information. I think it's one of the biggest advantages of XAI because they're now kind of owning X, and this is one of the biggest advantages of Grok as well. If you have real-time information search on X, my research agent do this via the Grok API, and now the real-time search API also has tool calling directly, like built-in real-time X search and web search and custom JSON integration. It's the freshest information possible for your agents out there, and I think it's a big deal, and they're leaning into that differentiator for them. Grok voice as well. Okay, let's scroll up and then see. We have
one more for audio.
Yeah,
an open source release actually, which is Chatterbox Turbo. So Chatterbox has been around for a while, and this is a new model from them. It is pretty small, 350 million parameters, which is for an audio model. Small is relative. But the thing here is that in benchmarks and comparisons, it has been very, very strong. I put a link in our channel here. And I'm very excited about this and want to try it out as soon as possible. It's fast and it's high quality, which is usually pick one of the two, but now you can pick both. So this is a release that has been interesting to me. You have it here. Okay, great.
Yep.
Small enough to run locally, which is exciting.
Yeah, 350 million parameters run on the toaster. Quinn, have you had a chance to test out this and see if this is worth implementing?
It's good. It's really good. My question for Wolfram, when you get a chance to try it out, is multilingual, because I have not tested it multilingual, and that's a big unlock too. But it's really good in English.
Yeah, the old one, not the old one, the bigger one, the Chatterbox, that is very strong multilingually. So I will definitely check this out in post.
At least per the infographic, which is now going to be our source of truth, it says the also available Chatterbox multilingual, 500 million parameters with 23 plus languages. It's down there on the bottom. So this is blind evaluation results. This model is preferred over 11 Labs Turbo V2.5 and over Cartesia Sonic 3. Which is very impressive, folks. We had Cartesia folks on the show. Sonic 3 was really, really good with sub 50 millisecond latency. This has sub 150 millisecond latency. So maybe 3 times as slower, but it's still, everything under 200 milliseconds, at least in UI, is considered almost instant to humans. So 150 milliseconds is actually a very impressive stat for an open source model. One-step decoder over there, 5 seconds, voice cloning, zero-shot voice cloning. We have to test this out. It's great. We have to keep running though, because again, this show is not about this week. Everything here is only this week. Okay, next to last thing, LDJ, I want you to cover this one.
Okay, so this one is Meta releasing SAM Audio. And SAM Audio is a variant of their SAM series, which stands for Segment Anything Model. And here, actually, I'll send a video here to you that you could put here. But basically, you can have a video, let's say, of a person talking and a train in the background. And in that video, you could simply, let's say, click in the interface of SAM Audio. You can click on the train, and then it'll be able to isolate the sound coming from the train. It can understand the fact that certain sounds are coming from that visual of the train, isolate that. It blocks out all other noise. You can easily isolate audio tracks. You can, sorry, I'll send you another link here.
Yeah.
You can isolate even music. If you have a music track and you want to isolate the drums in it, there's these various types of use cases that people for a while have tried to use different bespoke tools for. In the music industry, there's many different websites and tools that people use for trying to do these types of things. And this just seems to be state of the art in a lot of these things, while also just making it easier to do that, do the action itself of the voice isolation and audio.
I think I will try to show this. I need to make sure that, I think with audio.
If you go on that link that I sent you and then scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, I just needed to.
There's right there.
Okay. Let's take a look at this. Hopefully you guys can
SAM Audio, a state-of-the-art model for isolating sounds in music, speech, and general sounds. Separate audio with text prompts. Or extract a sound using visual prompts.
Hey, hang on, can you hear me? It's super loud. You know what actually looks better? You will not believe the day that I have had.
Use a span prompt to get even more precision. Or combine multiple prompts.
Yeah, I think we get it, but I think it's incredible.
You get the gist. Yeah.
Yes, Segment Anything model was and still is one of the best tools around to just extract very specific visual things. And now for audio, for folks who are just listening, what we saw, you probably heard it, but we saw a natural language extraction from other sources of audio. So if somebody talks and there's trains behind, the folks will, you can say, hey, give me just the sound of the train. It was very, very cool. Somebody playing guitar. I love how in the video they combined SAM3, so you can see the guitar actually outlined. That was super cool. Folks, I think there's a bunch more from this week. There is Hunyuan HY World 1.5. There is Mistral OCR released a new OCR model just today that's supposed to be top, but unfortunately we don't have that much time to cover all of it because I really want us to start moving towards recapping the whole year for you. But this was just this week in the AI. It was quite crazy. I think the last thing. This is, I think, the last thing that I had. Chatterbox, Meta. Yes. The last thing maybe
1 hour.
is.
We took 1 hour for 1 week. Now we do a whole year.
Yes,
another hour,
and now
right?
we're gonna do a whole year for another, however it takes, because this is the end of the year. Last thing maybe for this week's buzz for this week, we have a small announcement right here on the show to do this week buzz. As you'll see, the segment here says TBD because we wanted to keep it a surprise. But hey, maybe. We also have breaking news from Gemma. Okay, we have to cover the Gemma stuff, right? Super quick, right? What do we have?
Been waiting for this.
Yeah, so just before the this week's buzz, we've been waiting for this function Gemma. Let's hit this breaking news. But I really didn't want to use it today, but hey, when things happen, then it happen. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. Right, folks. There is a breaking news from Google Function Gemma. Gemma is Google's open source model endeavor, and then Function Gemma is the new release, 270 million parameter model for function calling. You can run on your phone or browser and other devices, like you run in the browser, designed to be specialized for your tasks.
Your toaster can now talk to your fridge, basically. That's what that means.
It's a very tiny, very specialized model, very like super quick. Everything interesting here is fine tunable on mobile actions. After fine tuning, it significantly outperforms the previous base. So when you have a special API surface and you're ready to fine tune, you can fine tune this model for your tasks. It looks super cool, and because it's like tiny and small, it can run everywhere. All right, this is Function Gemma. Let's move on. The last thing in this week's buzz. This is the corner of the show where I talk about weights and biases from CoreWeave stuff and updates. And I think for this one, I will let Wolfram take this one.
Okay, so this is a special moment for me because I'm officially announcing that I'm joining Weights and Biases by CoreWeave in January.
Whoa.
Yes, finally. It took a while to finalize everything, but I will go back fully into AI evaluation. And as you see from my title, AI Valuator, AI has become very valuable to all of us, but to get the most value out of it, evaluations are very important. And this is how I got into this with my in-depth evaluations. And now we have a lot of ways to do this. And I want to make sure that everybody can get the most value out of AI by contributing to the field of evaluations and making AI useful to anyone.
That is absolutely awesome, Wolfram. I'm very happy you're joining the team. Welcome with open arms, folks. Expect ThursdAI to be improved, as now Wolfram will dedicate like significant time of his actual work days also and bring us the results here on the show. We'll be evaluating models, we'll be sharing evaluation, we'll be testing out Weave and other products from Weights and Biases. So a very huge shout out to Wolfram again for joining and starting early next year. You'll see us talk more about some of the stuff that we're going to do behind the scenes.
And I think it's an excellent fit, a match made in heaven, considering what Weights and Biases already have. They have the tracing and evaluation framework. They now have the model platform. So I feel right at home here. I can use all of this for my evaluations.
All righty. So congrats from all around here. I think this is a great fit. Absolutely.
We're about to get some benchmarks. All right.
Yes, we're gonna build.
No holding back.
I'm hoping this is the one thing that I'm hoping for this partnership, Wolfram, is that every time we sit here, it's like, this should be a benchmark, and then this will actually be a benchmark afterwards that will be able to track things, like the counting bench that I keep talking about, multimodal stuff and other things. All right, folks, we've tried to recap the TLDR. This TLDR took an hour because we basically did the show within an hour, but now it's time to move to yearly recap, a year of AI's updates. This is it's been one heck of a year. We're gonna take turns and actually start from Q1 and go all the way up. I will hopefully folks have the co-host here on stage already opened the GitHub repo with all the releases, because I will call on you unless you volunteer to actually come and discuss the news of that year. I also showed the infographics, so let me prepare this. Meanwhile, I would just say we have a bunch of folks in the comments commenting on the new releases, and the Mistral today was many people's big update as well. And if folks, you're tuning in and you have a thing in if you have a thing in this year that we haven't covered, if you're watching and saying, oh no, this actually happened in February, although Opus is a great AI agent and helped me prepare for the show, Opus was also responsible for the summary, so it may have missed some things. I did review it, and there's a bunch of incredible recap there as well. All right, so how do we do this? We start with a transition, but we're gonna start with just Q1, and we'll start with January. So here is. Let me do like an actual announcement here. We're about to try to recap 2025 in the AI releases since the first month of January on ThursdAI. we have been covering every release in a weekly episode since for a while ago. For this year, we had a pretty much 4 shows every month, and so we're gonna try and walk you through the most important releases from those shows. The purpose of this is multifold. One, you'll see how fast acceleration is going, and hopefully you'll join us in understanding that AI is not going anywhere. Two, it's it's what we do. We recap stuff, and so we want to make sure that you know what's going on from this year, and hopefully we'll get to a point where you feel like, hey, this only released this week, this year, this month, and this is something that we do. I really think it's gonna be fun because like we're just gonna get to reminisce about some stuff. So let me open my infographic here, and I will open us up with the first one. Okay, so we're gonna focus on Q1. Q1 was absolutely insane. And I think the most important thing about Q1 in January specifically was DeepSeek R1. Folks, you remember DeepSeek well. You may remember DeepSeek from the show, actually, because we've been covering DeepSeek for a while before R1 was released. DeepSeek V3 was released just a little bit before this. And when DeepSeek R1 released, this was the first reasoning model with thinking token streaming. Back then, the main models already started, like the main foundation lab started like hiding the reasoning and tracing, and DeepSeek R1 was like fully open. This was the first reasoning model in open source after the QWQ attempts from Quen, and this absolutely shattered the surface area of AI geeks thinking about AI models in the privacy of their home, because everybody was talking about DeepSeek R1. Your mama, your grandmama, everybody, because, well, when DeepSeek R1 came out, it was so performant, at least on the benchmarks, it looked like it's beating the foundational models. And then there was a leak or something about the price to train this model, I think around $5.5 million. It wasn't clear if it's true or not, but definitely this caused such a downtrend on the Nasdaq for Nvidia that it caused $560 billion in losses for Nvidia for a while. I actually topped up my Nvidia investment back then because this is stupid, and we knew this is stupid. And the quote from me back then, and I'm really happy that I have quotes here. Open source AI has never been as hot as this quarter. It's only the beginning. Hold on to your butts, because we're just starting here with DeepSeek. It was 50x cheaper than O1 back then. O1 from OpenAI. Remember O1? It's so long ago. It's just absolutely incredible. Other notable releases from January, OpenAI gave us Operator. This was the first agentic ChatGPT. OpenAI was finally able to like click buttons, etc. Operator was sitting somewhere locked in the ChatGPT. I think it was only access to Pro accounts in the beginning, and then you could supposedly you could book restaurants and order groceries. And I think we tried, and it kind of worked. But it was based on a new computer use action or agent model, QA model. And it still failed captchas. Also, there was an announcement from Sam Altman and SoftBank and Oracle. They all stood in the office of the president and announced a Project Stargate, a $500 billion investment, around 2% of US GDP, the Manhattan Project of AI. Since then, I think they tripled on some of the investments back then. And also, NVIDIA CES, they showed a desktop that runs 200 billion models, DGX Spark. This is kind of from the infographic. Let me pull up the actual. Let's pull up the actual review of this month and then see if we missed anything.
Quick question, because what would be interesting is what of these news are relevant today for some of you, or at least one of you. So is anyone using Operator, for instance?
I think what happened to Operator is it turned into into agent inside ChatGPT, and then it turned into Atlas. So Operator is basically the granddaddy of Atlas. If we look at this computer use model, all of what they learned. So folks who use Atlas probably it has to do with that.
Oh, just really quickly, KME 1.5 also came out in January, but that was just.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, actually, I remember it came out within 24 hours of DeepSeek. I think it was the day of, or like a few hours before even. And then I recall they actually were even more open about their methods in that paper, but DeepSeek kind of overshadowed everything. Yeah.
Yep, DeepSeek absolutely overshot everything. Let's see what else we have here. Having trouble. So we talked about DeepSeek operator, and Minimax 01 also came out 5.4. If you guys really kept updating about 5. Alrighty, yeah, I'm gonna let you take over February. I think you really want to. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Let's go. Alex, you're showing or me?
Yeah, I'm gonna show, and you're gonna
Sure.
you can read out
All
the
right.
most important things.
So February, we started with the deep research war, you can say. Today, everyone got the deep research, but we only got it on February. You can say that this is the first agent that was widespread, released to the public, agent-ish, that is really researching the web for whatever you want and gets you build step by step one giant report at the end. At the same, quite around the same time, we got Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which for many people, including myself, was a step change from what we could do with the coding models to this moment. It was just mind-blowing for nearly anyone that used it to write any code whatsoever. Most importantly, it could do front end and design much better than any other model at the time. It was clearly mind-blowing to watch. At the same time, we got kind of an answer from an OpenAI in the shape of GPT 4.5, which is an odd model to this moment, rumored to be much larger than all other models released by OpenAI, but also kind of not a successful release by them. Yeah, even telegraphed as not a successful release, not something that we should get too excited about. But to this moment, the opinions about GPT 4.5 are all over the place, you can say. Grok 3 was released by XAI back on February, sorry. And at the same time, we don't have it on the infographic, but Claude Code was released on February, marking the start of the year of the agents, the start of the CLI tools explosion that we went throughout the entire year.
We need a gong for that one.
Oh yeah.
We don't do gongs here, we do air horns. So again, I want to stress, this was at the beginning of the show, we took a summary of the most important thing in AI for this year. This was Yam Pelek's most important thing was released in February, the beginning of the agentic coding CLI revolution with Cloud Code. I think we already had CLI tools back then, but Cloud Code was absolutely just a smashing success. And Anthropic, to their credit, have been knocking it out the park with these side releases, because MCP was just released 4 months before Cloud Code, also as an internal project within Anthropic, and then also around that time we started we're gonna get to MCP in a second, and then this is also a side project from Anthropic that brought billions of dollars of revenue to Anthropic because of just this one thing, because of hey, let's take this intelligence, put this in this format for many people. Most of us here use Cloud Code, if not on a daily, then on a weekly basis. Just it's that good. And when it came out, we talked about this just briefly because it wasn't that clear that it's going to be that good, and it's unclear to me now. Question that will turn to Ryan Carson actually on the show. Why is Cloud Code specifically so successful and good compared to many other offerings out there? Why do people get excited about Cloud Code? We'll get to Ryan and then Yam, and then we'll continue with the recap.
I think it's because it was used internally. So Boris Cheney built it for an internal tool inside Anthropic. So they were dogfooding it heavily. And when you dogfood your own tool, it gets really good. And so it came out, it was a clear contender, and a lot of people love Cloud Code. Obviously, I'm on the AMP team and I love AMP, and we work really hard on what we do as well. but a lot of people love Cloud Code. A lot of people want to use the TUI. They don't want a whole IDE. They don't want all the cruft. I'm the same. I'm 100% in the TUI or CLI.
Yeah. You were like raising your hand and clapping and getting excited. Why is this like the number one release for you?
First, I absolutely agree with Ryan. They said it many times that they use this. They started this as a tool for kind of let's see what's gonna happen kind of way, and it exploded inside Anthropic. You can find interviews with Boris explaining exactly how it starts. Cloud Code is just, in my opinion, just what happened to my camera? Why does it look this way? Anyway, Cloud Code is just exactly in the right stack, right around the right location in the stack, in my opinion. We had agents, we had Cursor at this point, we had multiple agents, and a month before we had Operator, which is an agent that controls the computer. However, Cloud Code is just controlling your computer through text, through the terminal. You can do anything you want with the computer through the terminal. Even as a human, you can just do it if you're good with the terminal. And this is a completely different paradigm when you think about it, because you can connect your UI-facing software to an engine running at the terminal that can control the entire computer. So you basically have an engine with an AI that connects to the UI, different UIs that you're using. And it's completely different than what we had before, which is like Cursor, you have UI and embedded inside of it, the agent as well. Anyway, it was, I think I can reveal at this point that I do have extensive knowledge about the first versions of Cloud Code, you can say it this way, very, very extensive. And it was rewritten multiple times. It was rewritten from scratch multiple times. You can see it in the code, and it's a thin wrapper. I searched for the secret for that is running it for quite a while. At the beginning, there is no secret. The secret is that it's just a thin wrapper.
It's
done
top-notch
very well.
engineering, and it's a great system prompt. That's pretty much.
Absolutely. Small details making it run smoothly, but there is no big magic. It's just small, tiny details that making it run very, very smoothly that they discovered by using it themselves. And it's thin, showing you what it's doing and can control everything about your computer. This is why it's popular, because it's just good. That's the entire thing, pretty much.
Let's continue to the rest of. So Cloud Code definitely marks the main release there as well. Let's continue to the rest of February. Yam, if you want to continue covering this.
Sure. What didn't they cover? I think the
OpenAI roadmap. I wanted to like highlight because we're gonna get to like chat about some other OpenAI releases, and I think back then it was clear that like OpenAI is changing tune. There was a whole thing about 01, then 02. They skipped 02 because the 02 arena, if you guys remember, they jumped into 03, and then they mentioned
Look, at the time, the naming was. I mean, the naming is still all over the place, but we basically had two lines of models. We had the GPT line, GPT-4, GPT-4 4.5. 2 months later, we get GPT 4.1, and we have the O series, which are the reasoning models. We had 01, then we got 03 and 01 Pro, and we are about to get 04 Mini and so on. And we weren't sure exactly where this whole thing is going, and we got a release of a roadmap from I'm not sure if from OpenAI or from a third party, that OpenAI is preparing for one model to rule them all. Basically, spoiling GPT-5 that came a couple of months later on this year. And anything else you want to highlight, Alex?
That's up to you. You're covering, OmniHuman maybe is very important here, and I think this is, I think you want to take this one.
Just a moment. If you want to do it until I find it, just
we can edit it out. Just look at the screen.
Yeah, but it's small, Alex.
Oh,
it's small.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, folks. It's only February. In the beginning of February, when Andrej Karpathy, let me add myself there. Andrej Karpathy coined the term vibe coding in February. Like this I think coincides very amazingly well with the release of Cloud Code just a little bit afterwards. Andrej Karpathy famously posted a tweet. I think it's like 5 million views still since then. Multiple folks that I personally know that have the title like PM of vibe coding or etc. Vibe coding has become almost, it's not, but it almost came the word of the year for the Webster dictionary. Vibe coding basically refers to the fact that you no longer use software engineering. It then grew and became a term for everything AI related coding, and then people said no, vibe coding is really bad. But generally, what Andrej Karpathy back then meant is that for side projects, for offshoot projects, he basically doesn't like read the code anymore. He just talks to an AI agent and then hits send and send and send and keeps going and just like vibing with the thing. It became like absolutely viral, this term. And so I wanted to call out that it's only been less than a year of vibe coding and it's now everywhere. Everybody's vibe coding. Folks, anything else? You have the notes. Anything else important from February that we missed? Any like big release that's not on here?
Yeah, Grok 3 and also the Alibaba WAN-X model and the step fund video. Those were, people use those a lot.
Yeah. So Alibaba's X, no, it switched to WAN, just WAN, I think since then. They have, they've been great at video model generation. Although for this year, this is not the big video break, but yeah. Nissen, since you spoke up, how about you cover the third month in Q1 on March 2025? For us, for the listeners of the show, by the way, March episode, the birthday episode of both GPT, because GPT-4 came out in March of last year, and for ThursdAI, this was the biggest episode that we had this year. This was absolutely the best one, with the MCP stuff as well. Nissen, so all yours. Please take it away for March 2025.
So March, we got the let's just start with the important one. MCP1 as a standard, Model Context Protocol. And they tried to make another one and they sponsored a bunch of hackathons and stuff, but it wasn't happening because, once OpenAI adopted Anthropic's MCP, that was over. We did get, the other amazing thing was we got Ghibli. So the Ghibli wave happened in March. For some, it's still going, but it kind of died out now. And we got Gemini 2.5 Pro. So we got the first trillion parameter model from Google that people could code with. I personally didn't like it, but a lot of people liked it. And it had the entire thinking in it as well. We got on the open source side, we got the DeepSeek v3, the update. This one had extremely high scores, but it was also I tested on the medical side. It was still, so a non-thinking model was one of the best open source medical models for that. And then we started getting a whole bunch of stuff from OpenAI voice side, which probably some of you here can know a lot more because I never used them. But yeah, we got GPT-4o mini TTS, and and we got the transcribe, and we started getting the ImageGen from Gemini 2. So this Gemini Flash image generation, it wasn't that good, and so we started seeing on the open source side we saw a whole bunch of stuff. So we got Gemma 3. We got Q from Quen, which was that one was pretty good. We ended up with Quen 2.5 Omni 7B, which I think some people still use today. So that's worth noting. Reka Flash 3 was also pretty good. NVIDIA started out their entire Nemotron thing, and they're getting a lot better now. And I think we got the largest open source model from Cohere as well.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, I think we got the biggest fully open data, open weights, everything from Almo 2. Actually, I think that was a bit later. The Almo 2 might have been fine-tuned, but the one that is now is still the biggest. Other things, so yeah, MCP started just getting adopted everywhere. And weights and biases implemented too for the MCP server. But some very important things from the audio side, because these are things that I use. I know a lot of people use these. MLX audio. Shout out to Prince Kanuma, because he did a terrific job on that, especially with the Kokoro models that you could use. Everyone could run that on like any even 5-year-old Mac. So, and I think that is still in use today. And we got RoboFlow Deader, which people are still using, today. And we got the benchmark. I don't think a whole lot of people use the benchmark, but these two, RoboFlow and MLX Audio, I think these two were like, I would say like some of the most used ones that are still very good tools that you can use today. So I think those are like actually extremely impactful. We got a whole bunch of image ones. So we started getting the Honyan third models. The Honyan VAE, the variable encoder, is actually still very good and used today. And we got ideogram and read image, but I don't know a lot of people that use those. So yeah, that is the March. Yeah.
It was a very big month as well. Quinn, would you join us to discuss the voice AI implications of March? Because I think GPT TTS was like a very impactful one for sure.
Yeah, right at the end of March, OpenAI released 2 models that were derived from the same work as the GPT real-time speech-to-speech model, but separated out the transcription, audio input understanding side of that model, and the voice generation output side of that model into separate models you could use through the APIs. I think a couple important things about that. One is these were truly LLMs. They're steerable models. And before that, most of the dedicated transcription and voice models we all had access to were really sort of focused on just taking a little bit of text input and literally outputting voice, or taking a little bit audio input and literally outputting transcription. But you can prompt these 2 models like you can prompt an LLM. And then whatever you give them, you've kind of given them a system instruction. They'll do something like translate on the fly, or they'll modify, what they're giving you, or you're kind of steering them to understand words better. Really, really interesting future direction. The other thing is this was a recognition from a foundation lab that we're going to live in like a multi-model world for these agents we're constructing. It's not always going to be just a big, huge speech-to-speech model, and we have that speech-to-speech model do everything for us. We're gluing together multiple models because we have a ton of different kinds of things we're doing, and having these individual models available is really, really powerful. I mean, you think it's something like how AMP architecture for the coding agents uses lots of models. I mean, I think everything we're doing is multi-model. I think that's the way the world's going to be. And this was OpenAI sort of breaking apart their big speech-to-speech model and giving us the components.
Yep. And we'll cover kind of the updates to that one as well. And I think they were like one of the first ones. Going super quick recap on the semantic VAD that they launched. I think they were the first one to actually productionize semantic VAD, and we talked about this back on the show as well.
Oh yeah, inside a speech-to-speech model. So they launched a really nice component of that speech-to-speech model that could tell when a user is done talking, and the voice agent should start talking. This is one of the big challenges in building voice agents that feel natural. How does the voice agent, wait long enough, but not too long, so that it doesn't interrupt you? It feels like it responds very quickly. Humans we talk over each other even. We sometimes have like negative voice-to-voice latency in a natural human conversation, or we respond very quickly, or we give like a little back channel thing so we're listening. And we're still missing in these speech-to-speech models like that level of naturalness, that level of like give and take response, super quick response. So having a really good semantic, meaning it understands the content, and VAD, meaning voice activity detection model in the GPT real-time speech-to-speech API was a real step forward. All of the sort of transcription models are now building VAD in like semantic turn taking into their transcription models. There's open source models to do it. I work on an open source, open data, open training code, semantic VAD model called Smart Turn. There's lots of interesting research here, but like this is going to be a 2026 thing we're all continuing to work on.
Yeah, 100%. And so this concludes, folks. Super quick reactions on the whole quarter. I know folks in the audience saying the infographic is small. I apologize. This is what we're working with. There's a lot of detail here. So any major theme of the first quarter that we missed? As far as the kind of the theme outline here, January was kind of the earthquake for AI, and then February arms race. Deep research was dope, absolutely. Grok 3, and then March, Gemini 2.5 Pro became like number one for a very brief period of time, maybe a little bit. Yam, you mentioned 4.5 as well as a release that kind of wasn't very clear in February, but I think like a very big model from OpenAI. I think to call out the thing that I remember from then is that we at some point on the show had to explain why a 4.1 model is better than 4.5 model. And the versioning and the just phrasing just didn't make sense to any of us. We're sitting here like, hey, I had a conversation with a person explaining to them the GPT 4.1 is better than GPT 4.5, and this makes no sense in any other place in the world.
And the difference between 4.0 and 0.4.
Oh,
It's
lovely.
yeah.
Has there no 02?
That was brutal.
Oh yeah.
I want to say quickly that Cursor sales exploded during this time because of Sonnet 3.7, and everybody was vibe coding because it could actually make web apps pretty well. This blew up in corporate and stuff.
I wonder how much Karpathy and vibe coding as a concept like had to do with the Cursor explosions. But yes, let's call out Cursor. I don't know at which point Windsurf came to the stage, but also Windsurf, the agentic editors because of Sonnet, and then the Gemini 2.5 Pro, but mainly Sonnet 3.7, I think, was a huge theme of this quarter. So absolutely the quarter that broke the market and then changed a bunch of stuff and opened up a bunch of new voice and TTS. Huge Q1 for AI in the world. And Wolfgang?
I think that it was also the pivotal moment in history where we noticed that OpenAI is not the big leader all the time when DeepSeek happened. So we saw that OpenAI with the space, so open source AI, open weights AI, that it can actually get very close. That was a moment where people realized, okay, yeah, it's not that big of a difference between the models. Proprietary AI was still leading, but it was now much closer than it used to be.
I want to also shout out super quick, like we mentioned this a little bit, but like the GPT native images was a huge thing, specifically because you could talk to an image model. You can talk to it and with reason and understand, you have a multi-turn conversation with it. This was like the huge, big thing. You didn't have to go to a dedicated website. There's a bunch of stuff, there's like a bunch of, Flux, I think was already there. Obviously Stable Diffusion stuff before. We could do Ghibli stuff. We talked about this on the show. We could like, I could send you to a model with the fine tune and CV, blah, 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 and we can do Ghibli stuff. But for many people, the huge unlock was, hey, I can chat with this thing. I can tell you what I want, and it gives me what I want back. And I can tell it, hey, no, I actually want this and that. The conversational back and forth where the model was multimodal, it receives back the output of its own and then like can iterate on this. This was like the big unlock for many, many people. And for some reason, and I think because of copyright reasons, we'll talk about this when Sora 2 comes up in Q3 of this year as well. Copyright was a big issue as well. Ghibli Studios obviously didn't really were very happy that anybody can create their style now, but all of us were Ghiblified. I think our thumbnail for the show for that was like also all of us in like Ghibli style as well, if you guys remember. It was a huge thing. It was like a world-shattering thing. We often talk about the kind of the surface area bubble that we're in the AI bubble sitting, like DeepSeek. We knew about this way before R1, and then R1 broke the bubble. Ghiblifying absolutely broke the bubble. OpenAI recently released a video where they need more GPUs. They're about to fundraise, whatever. And the one thing Greg Brockman talked about there in terms of like we need more GPUs is that when the Ghibli thing happened, they had to take GPUs back from research into production. And he said, we sacrificed the future for the present because they literally just had so many people just doing things. It's very, very interesting for the later of this year. Alrighty, let's continue Q2. Yeah, Q2 I think is also man, this whole year is crazy. But Q2 is like also very, very meaningful. Let me open up the infographic for folks on. For folks who are following us, let me actually post this on YouTube. Folks are saying infographic is small. Yes, I agree. There's like tons of information there. I'm just gonna post the GitHub link with you as well in the comments on YouTube. Go in there. The infographics are touched. You can see them in full 4K glory if you want to explore them on their own and see kind of the year of AI rolling out in front of your eyes. Who are saying, Wolfram, you're going to take this one?
Yeah, sure.
You're going to
So
start
it's
with April?
Back in April, that was a month with ups and downs, with some highs and lows. And I have been pretty critical of OpenAI recently, you remember. But O3 and O4 Mini released in April, on April 17th. And yeah, those were amazing moments because these reasoning models, they had the ability to use tool calling during reasoning, like web search, Python, image generation, and chain hundreds of consecutive tool calls to do really complex stuff, and even manipulate images mid-thought, like cropping, zooming, rotating. And yeah, it scored amazing in evals. And I can tell a personal anecdote because O3 has been one of my favorite models of all time for one reason. In that month, my AI workstation broke, and I used O3 to fix it. I took pictures of the mainboard, and it got the manual online, and it zoomed into the picture and cropped out the LEDs and told me where the LEDs are on the main board. It wrote the mails to the retailer. It did everything. I took pictures of the cables. I had to reconnect the power supply, completely new one. It did all of that. It told me where to put the cables. It was amazing. It was really taking me through it, multimodality, reasoning. It was amazing. One of the moments where I really realized how powerful AI is in daily use cases where you can use it. So that was a really big moment for me, and big kudos to OpenAI for doing this. And GPT 4.1 was also released with 1 million contexts, which was pretty new for OpenAI. And they had the 4.1, 4.1 mini and nano versions, deprecated 4.5, which was much bigger and probably not as efficient for them to run. It was amazing throughout the whole context, achieved 72% on video MME, so multimodality was strong with it. And yeah, it was a great model. That were the good parts. OpenAI really big month for OpenAI in my book. But Meta totally fumbled with the Llama 4 release. So they were the big ones for the OpenAI locally, for open source, open weights AI. Even the our local Llama subreddit, where we all hang out about open stuff, was named after Llama. And now with the Llama 4 release, they really lost it because for once there were big models now. The Maverick was 400 billion total parameters. And the Behemoth that never got released, it was 288 billion parameters. Active of 2 trillion total parameters. So that was a moment where they went MOE, like the DeepSeek before. So a lot of people speculated that it was a total, we have to redo this to get better here. And there was also some trauma when the tested models in LLM Arena was not the one they released. So a lot of strange things happening here. We never got the big model. There was a controversy, and the models themselves, they weren't leading, which Llama 2 and 3 before, they were the big open source releases. Yeah. So now, basically, the Qwen models took over, or Meta made it possible for that to happen. In other news, Gemini 2.5 Flash came out, which we were all using until Gemini 3 Flash came out now. So it was still the 2.5 Flash after the 3 Pro release, which was a counter to O3, O4 Mini, in that it was able to, you could set a thinking budget, how many tokens per API call it should think. It has a 1 million context token, token context window, which was always a big strength of Google. But they had the huge context, and it was super cheap. So the old Flash model, it cost 15 cents per million input tokens and 60 cents per output million tokens. So fast model wasn't the smartest, of course, but with the thinking, it could at least get up to bigger levels. So it was a definite balance between speed and cost was in reasoning depth. We also saw a lot of open source LLMs, Nemotron Ultra 253B, for instance, a pruned Llama 405B that bet the actual Llama 4, Kimi Visual Language 3 billion model, MIT licensed, DeepCoder, HighDream, GLM4 family, a lot of models. And especially noteworthy was also that Google celebrated MCP, officially supporting it, and joining Microsoft and AWS in its MCP support. At the same time, they had the agent-to-agent protocol, if you remember that. I don't think it got much traction. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, we had a chat about agent-to-agent here on the show with the guy leading this in Google. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder where it's going right now, if it's still relevant, but MCP definitely ruled for the integrations into the agents. Quark 3 API was opened up for API access, so that was also interesting. And ChatGPT memory upgrade, so you could enable the memory across all of your chats. That was also a big feature for OpenAI.
Oh, memory was huge, yeah.
Yeah, although I personally think it's very important and a big feature that we can control the memories. Giving it access to everything can also be very distracting. But having the option is great. And yeah, that was a good step ahead. We also got VO2, Google's video model, being generally available. That was also big for a lot of people now using it to create videos. We had the Kling 2.0 Creative Suite, Runway Gen 4, so lots of stuff happening in the vision and the video world, and also in the voice and audio, the Dia 1.6b TTS, PipeCat. Maybe Quintla wants to add something as well in that segment, Dolphin Gemma. And noteworthy is also that OpenAI brought out its open source Codex CLI, basically a competitor to Claude Code. And considering that it is from OpenAI and that it is actually open source, I would have expected it to be much more popular, but for some reason, it never took off that much. Maybe the model is more important, or at least as important as the harness itself. Yeah, we had Firebase Studio from Google, not to be confused with the AI Studio that they have. So that was their vibe coding platform, where you can build complete apps, database integrations, and hosting. And Git MCP was very popular as a MCP to connect your GitHub repository to the agent so it can access it and do stuff with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, big month. Lots
big
of
month. I want to call out a few of the launches that happened actually on the show. Quinn, you guys launched Smart Turn and worked on Smart Turn back then. Any additions to this very intensive April?
Yeah, real quick on audio, because it just felt like a big month for voice agents. The Gemini Flash text mode update was really compelling, and that was a moment when a lot of people in the voice agent space switched from GPT 4.0 to Gemini 2.5 Flash for like production voice agents. There was also a live model version of that update, which they released the first one in December, competing with GPT Real-Time. They did a big update in April. That Dia model that a couple of Korean students did got people really excited about open source voice. I think it made people realize you could build open source voice models on one GPU at home with data that you curated. And so there was just a ton of stuff that felt like it unlocked voice in people's minds in April. I'm sorry, April.
Yeah, April.
Can't even keep track of which month was which.
It's been an insane year of AI. Absolutely.
Oh, I left out one other thing in April. AWS Novasonic speech-to-speech model, which not a lot of people know about, but they launched the first version in April. It kind of was very much a placeholder. The new one they just launched in December, which I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but is very good. So, that was the third competitor in the speech-to-speech model race.
Yep. So this is April. We will continue to June, and we have Ryan Carson with us to cover June. Let me set
Let's
up.
do it.
Let's queue up Ryan.
Hey everybody.
There you go.
Hey, so a lot happened.
Wait, sorry, April, May. Why am I saying June? Let's go to May. Yeah.
Let me
Nice Christmas sweater, by the way.
Yeah. All right, let me move.
Ryan, you want to do June? I can do May. I wanted to do May for
Go for it. You do May, I'll do June.
I confused between the dates. All right, folks. I think the reason why I want to take this one is because of this insane release of VO3. So May of 2025 was the highlight of the year in the uncanny valley being basically dead, as you can see here on the infographic, and you can probably see everywhere else. Google had released VO3 and then later some updates there as well. I think it was Google I/O back in May as well. Google I/O is the yearly kind of like announcement for Google. We covered it live, by the way. I had interviews live from there. And VO3 was absolutely earth-shattering in the quality of video generation that we can do. VO3 came out, I think, one of the first ones with native audio, one of the first good ones with native audio. Still, it's one of the top video models to date, and native audio with perfect lip sync, and it kind of looked like a world simulator. Stuff like prompt theory started going viral everywhere else, where people were kind of like creating these AI videos of folks interviewing each other on the street and saying, "Hey, are we prompts? Are all we prompts?" And the absolute realism with the lip sync and voice was the thing that shattered kind of the AI bubble again, and many people started like freaking out. And I basically said back then we've crossed the uncanny valley. So VO3 was definitely a huge release of this May. But also on the LLM side, Claude 4 Opus was released, and Sonnet as well. They actually live dropped during ThursdAI, if you guys remember. It was breaking news, and 80% of Sui Bench verified. It was a historic moment. Claude 4, Opus, and Sonnet. They claim to handle 6 and 7 hour tasks, which is very impressive as well. And Sonnet, obviously 3.7, as Nissan said before, started this whole kind of like flow of started the whole flow of AI coding, but definitely Sonnet 4 and Sonnet Opus 4 specifically mentioned, like made a dent. They're the first models to cross 80% on Swimage verified. They did hybrid reasoning and instant response modes, both. I think this was the first. Please, folks, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those were the first Claudes with reasoning that we can actually get access to. And this is also a theme of this year. Kind of reasoning started propagating across all major models in all of them. So it just before this in April, we covered that like Gemini Flash were like added with thinking budgets, and now in May, Opus and Sonnet also were like hybrid models with reasoning as well. And the knowledge cutoff was very fresh for them as well. As I mentioned, Qwen 3. Let me scroll. Yeah, Qwen 3 released starting of May, so in open source. Alibaba dropped the most comprehensive open source release ever. It was like a ton of models. 8 models. It was like 2 big MOEs with 235 billion parameter active and 30 billion parameter active with 3B only, and then 6 dense ones ranging from 0.6 to 32B. I believe that we had Junyan Ling from Alibaba Qwen on the show. Apache 2 license on everything, kind of coming off the Llama 4, Maverick, and etc. kind of like a bomb open source release back in April. This was an incredible thing for the open source community. Just incredible models overall. They got used, and I think still used. The Qwen 3, the small models are used everywhere for fine tuning. They had this very interesting way to like toggle thinking on the fly. They had like a runtime toggle for chain of thought on demand. So before this, you had to choose if you're going to talk with a reasoning model, non-reasoning model, set it up. They had this a feature where you can like mention in chat, hey, I want you to like think with a slash thing, and the model will switch to a reasoning model behavior. I think that was like super, super cool. The 4 billion parameter dense Qwen beat, so a 4 billion parameter dense Qwen 3 beat Qwen 2.5 72 billion parameters from before on multiple benchmarks. So again, I'll say this like very slow. The 4 billion parameter model of this new one beat the 72 billion parameter model from the generation from before. It was, folks, it was an insane release. Like Qwen 3 was just an absolutely insane release, maybe like one of the like top open source releases this year. 36 trillion training tokens, 120 languages, and then day one support across everything. Nistin back then said the 30B MOE is Sonnet 3.5 at home, and it runs over 100 tokens per second on MacBooks. It was just mind fucking melding. And then GPT-4o. I don't have this here on my infographic, but GPT-4o native image generation. It was Ghibli Mania 2.0 because they open sourced. They opened it in an API. If you guys remember, when Ghibli Mania happened. Oh, not this one, sorry. When Ghibli Mania happened, it happened like in ChatGPT, so you have to go to ChatGPT and generate those images. Then they released GPT Image 1 in the API, which made like again a bunch of then people were playing with this. They support generation and edits and masking and excellent text rendering. Excellent in quotes, right? Because we later got now Banana Pro, like we realized what excellent text actually means, and then. We back then saw that they really struggled with realistic face matching, and maybe this was intentional. We actually played, and I don't know. Still, it's not the best. Google I/O had an avalanche of releases, like a ton of releases. So I'm gonna run through them super quickly because we still have a whole year ahead of us. But Gemini 2.5 Pro DeepSeek was released back then. Gemini 2.5 Flash went to GA with thinking budgets. We mentioned them a little bit before. Gemini Diffusion was released. It was a cool thing. We haven't seen a lot of diffusion since then, but basically, if you guys remember, we talked about this. Yeah, I think you helped me cover this. Diffusion language models, where basically they fill in the tokens kind of like all over the place and not sequentially, was a thing. And Gemini Diffusion talked about 2,000 tokens per second for code and math editing, and we haven't seen tons of stuff back then. They released Jules, their async coding agents at Jules.google. It was very interesting because they keep releasing AI agents and editors in Google. They showed off finally Project Mariner, which is browser control via API. Basically, it started with a Chrome extension, but they didn't release Project Mariner. It became like an internal part of things, so you couldn't like use it. And then they also announced the Gemini Ultra tier and AI mode in search. Going to open source, there's a bunch of open source stuff, specifically Mistral's developer version. I think this is the first DevStral of 24B. It was state of the art of Sweetbench verified. Sweetbench verified continued to be the benchmark that everybody just beat. Like Sweetbench verified from the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s. This whole year was been just like incredible to see. And then NVIDIA Nematron kept releasing stuff. Gemma 3 was released, 4B Matformer. And I think that's mostly it. In big companies, so we covered the Codex agent. OpenAI hired Johnny Ive. If you guys remember, this was also back then. $6.5 billion deal. IO, his company, and now is doing stuff. Was publicly announced they're doing stuff with OpenAI. GitHub Copilot open sourced fully. Microsoft added MCP in Windows, and LM Arena, the folks that we used to look at for every vibe comparison, raised $100 million. In vision and video, I think the super cool thing was Odyssey. If you guys remember Odyssey was like super cool. It was in walkthrough AI generated worlds that you can like use the WASD keys to control. Alibaba released open source diffusion transformer video 1.2.1. So this was like 1x before. And in voice and audio, I think when you can maybe help me see if there's like anything interesting here. 11 Labs V3 was released, and GPT 4.0 transcribe with semantic force. I think
it felt like a much more incremental month than the month before.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was also the unmute data sage from QTAI that adds a voice to any LLM. I think in tools, Cloud Code went GA. In April, so in May. So I think that Cloud Code was like a beta thing, and Cloud Code went finally GA in May of this year. I think that this is it for May. Let me see if I'm Alpha Evolve, Cloud Code GA, and Cursor V1. Yeah, Cursor was also released and like introduced MCP support and Bugbot reviews PRs in Cursor in V1.
I still use Opus 4 today. So I think that's going to be one of my all-time favorite models.
Yeah, Opus 4 definitely a big one. We're moving to let's not wait too much. Let's move to Let's move to June. Ryan Carson with us. June is the new normal. This is what my AI decided to call it.
It's clever. It's
Yeah.
great. All right, everybody. A lot happened in June. I'm going to go over the high level quickly, and then I'm going to zoom in primarily on two stories. So we saw O3 drop prices massively, right? So this is a huge deal. We saw a big drop in the token prices, which means that mostly startups could get access to these hyper intelligent models a lot cheaper. I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. But let's go to Meta and scale. So this is where we started to see Zuck get out his checkbook, and he just started buying everybody. And my opinion about this with Alex Wang, coming over to Facebook, where it was basically an acqui-hire, but a huge one, was, in the end, it's hard to say no to absolute bonkers money, right? Probably Alex as well saw that this was a chance to really impact one of the potentially largest labs in the world. So that was kind of interesting to see Meta just shower money on various teams. So that was interesting. We saw MinMax M1 beat R1. So just again, see, this team just delivering amazing value coming out of the East, which is disrupting everybody in the West. And then we saw another CLI hit the market. Gemini released the CLI and open sourced it, which was really cool. Obviously, I'm on the team at AMP, and we love coding agents. We love the CLI. We love the TUI. So it's actually fun to see more competition here. And then hopefully we'll see an explosion of new ideas and other valid competitors come to this space. But good to see that open source. Good to see it built on Gemini. Saw a bunch of open source news as well. Mistral 3.2, their image gen. We saw Magistral come out as well. DeepSeek R10528 and Elect 2. So a bunch of open source news. I want to double click real quick though on the two top stories, because I think they're the most important ones. O3 Pro and just the general drop in price for intelligence here was the beginning, I think, of the unlock for a lot of startups. Like I run a startup. I'm not, I have billions of dollars of funding. So the more intelligence that all of us startups can get for a cheaper price really does unlock new businesses. So it's fun to see this price war really heating up between the big model labs. And this continues, right? Today, we saw this with Gemini 3 Flash coming out, cheaper, better. It's a good thing. So I was excited to see this. And then the Meta scale, acqui-hire news was just interesting, because I think everybody started to realize that there was this, switching chairs, moving chairs scenario going on in Silicon Valley. And I think everybody realized, we can't protect our team. They're going to get sniped just with dollars. Interestingly enough, I don't think we've really seen this shake out yet. It feels like Meta is, kind of absent at the moment. So we'll see how it shakes out. So that was June. Is pretty exciting as always. I hope you enjoyed it.
Awesome. Folks, this is okay. So we're going to zoom out on this whole quarter, Q2 of 2025, with a bunch of so I counted 3 agentic coding models, I think. Let's take a look all together of some of the stuff. I think, Ryan, thank you so much for covering the June thing. The metal scale thing, as far as I remember, I'm inviting a discussion about this whole quarter and the stuff that was released and the main themes here. Meta scale thing was a big one. The numbers were just absolutely insane. They were thrown out. Apparently, there was news afterward that Zuck made some soup and hand-delivered some soup to prospective candidates. I didn't get no soup from Zuck, but apparently, he was bringing out soup to some folks, which was very, very, very funny. As just like a joke, but yeah, we saw, I think, publicly some of the biggest paychecks that were on record for some of these folks. And the world realized that some of these super hot researchers are absolutely in high demand back then. And this was a response for a very lackluster, if said, disastrous Llama 4 release. Since then, nothing. Just absolute silence. SEM, amazing model. SEM 3, SEM 3D, SEM audio, world stuff from Meta. But like those are not the Meta super intelligence labs. No super intelligence. The one thing that I will say since then, since this move, Zuck turned around and said the course on open source was turned away. They did release a bunch of Meta AI stuff, and you can go, and there's like a bunch of stuff. We can talk about them later, but nothing like very significant from this like very strong investment. Hopefully there's a Google-like narrative here that it's taking them time to like start, but then they're going to start releasing everywhere. But I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we all want to see Meta be a real player here. I mean, we need to see more competition at the high level and at the open source level. So I think we're all rooting for them to come back.
What are you saying about this quarter in overall? Quinn, you want to comment on the on your like native angle?
It felt like it was the quarter where people got really excited about voice agents outside the bubble of people who were already excited about voice agents. People were talking to ChatGPT Advanced Voice all the time. Google dropped these amazing releases. Amazon was like, oh, on the enterprise side, we've got to have Nova models support it. And the disappointment was the Llama launches, because we really felt like, okay, Llama 4 is going to be this great open weights option for these, for what we do for multi-turn conversation. And it just, it had great benchmarks, but you just couldn't use it in practice.
Yep.
For me, this was the start of the 24/7 AI agents era because of the Claude Max plan before they nerfed it multiple times. There were a whole bunch of people that were just running those things 24/7, and that was great. So that's all I want to say.
This was a brief period, right? Like they afterwards, they took it down.
Yeah, that spoiled a lot of people because of what you could do if you always had something running in the background. So,
do you remember McKay put like one in the cloud? It called it like Little Claude or something, and they made him stop because it was called Claude code. So
they made him stop. Yep.
Yeah.
LDJ had comments on this, Yam as well on this quarter. What else is like? We should mention like again Qwen 3 and the myriads of releases for this. Wolfram, you want to maybe touch on the open source?
Yeah, I just wanted to point this out. Like I said when I covered April, that Meta dropped the ball and Qwen put it up and ran with it. They picked it up and ran with it. So yeah, these models and what Qwen did, they became the new base models for a lot of open source projects. And they are still being used today. So this was a release back then, which is ages ago in AI time, even if it's just half a year ago or something. So in the end, this was one of the most important AI releases of all time, I would say, so far. Definitely a major milestone and a big moment. Yeah. And yeah, like has been said, I would like to see Meta pick up a ball again and go back to play with us.
Yes.
Do something in the open source space, especially.
LDJ, comments on this, and then we'll move on to the next queue.
Yeah, so I believe it was around June where Thinking Machine Labs, the news broke that they're having their first big funding round, and the existence of them and them trying to come onto the scene as this new lab. It's really interesting, exciting, and a lot of questions and mystery around the exodus of what will these people create. And now we have some answers. There's the Tinker platform, as well as some open models that they said they're going to release in 2026.
Yeah, the Thinking Machines, aka Thinky, is a lab formed by Miro Murati, and just like an absolute avalanche of top tier researchers that when Zuck started like poaching people from Try to OpenAI and like different places and scale, obviously, it didn't seem like he was able to get any Thinking Machines people. If anything, I saw the opposite. I saw like MSL folks who didn't get the top kind of scores and top paychecks go to Thinking Machines and find their home there as well. Banger quarter, specifically the main theme, I'm going to run through because I have them noted. We talked about them. So AI's economic impact accelerated. Obviously, OpenAI raised that $300 billion valuation. Since then, like it rose again. All three price drops, 80% in 4 months. Windsurf, $3 billion acquisition was back then as well to Google, if you guys remember. And then there was the whole thing where Windsurf went to Google, but only the top folks in Windsurf went to Google, and then the rest were like, left adrift, and then Cognition picked up them and Windsurf as well. It was like a cool thing to see that Windsurf is still around, even though Google bought out. This was kind of like the Team Anti-Gravity, what became Team Anti-Gravity. And then Cursor's $9 billion valuation, and I think it still kept rising since then. Jules, Codex, GitHub Copilot agents, all of these agents were released just one after another this quarter. Just absolute bangers after bangers. And Gemini CLI in open source as well, and as MCP became the universal standard for all of it. Google I/O was a big thing that people tried to undercut from before and after, and weren't really successful. And then Chinese open source, just absolutely everywhere. And Qwen 3 and DeepSeek R1 updated on May 05/28, and then Minimax and 1 as well. Righty. We're going to go to Q3, and we have LDJ queued up to take us to Q3. Let me open the infographic. LDJ, you open up the notes, and then let's go. Let's see. Let's put it here. Oof, this is a dense one. I'm very happy that we chose
so
for this.
July. Okay.
Yes.
So here. Let me just open up StreamYard here. Okay. Yeah, so Kimi K2 released. So now they started getting some more popularity. Some of us recognized their prowess back when they ended up releasing something very similar to R1, when that was Kimi K 1.5. But now they had kind of their own week where they had some popularity. They had really high scores in Sweetbench. It's 32 billion active parameters, about 1 trillion total. So roughly similar size in active parameters to DeepSeek, but larger in the total. Maybe some world knowledge ends up being able to be there, was maybe their thinking process in that. And I believe this is maybe one of the first actual good open source models that was at that 1 trillion parameter mark and beyond. 128K context, modified MIT license, so it's actually open. State of the art on EQ Bench, which a lot of people like because it could actually be kind of creative. It was good at writing, things like that. Muon optimizer and different types of more modern tweaks like that people were excited about. Then you have Grok 4 and Grok Heavy. I think this was maybe one of the first models where people actually started taking XAI very seriously, and it was arguably actually as a contender as the #1 for a brief period of time, and definitely at least trading blows with the other players. Insane scores on ArcAG IV2 at the time, 100% on AME 2025. That's a qualifying exam for the International Math Olympiad. Then ChatGPT Agent. So that combines a bunch of things like the browser, their terminal research, the deep research features, and insane scores on Humanities Last Exam. Then we have Chinese open source. We have Baidu. There's so much stuff. It's just insane year. Sorry, I'm just thinking high level. Yeah, so Baidu Ernie 4.5. That was multimodal, a bunch of different sizes. It says 10 models there. I forget really what all the different configurations were, but
yeah,
different mixture of experts models, I believe.
From 400 to 41B to 0.3B, just an insane range. Yeah.
Yep. And then Tencent Hunhuan. Tencent's one of the other mega corporations in China, similar to Alibaba. Then we have Huawei, Pengu Pro MOE, which apparently didn't use any NVIDIA chips in its development. And here, sorry, 1 second.
The coder.
Yes. Qwen 3 coder.
The big one. That
here,
was
Qwen 3 coder. Sorry, I'm opening up another parf notes here. Okay, so for Qwen 3 coder, that had insane scores on Sweetbench verified at the time, nearly 70%, as well as using less training tokens than a lot of other models at the time. A lot of them were using 15 trillion plus. This only used 7.5 trillion tokens. Then we have a Qwen 3, 235 billion total, and 22 billion active parameters, and that's an instruct model, not reasoning, but also just very good for its size. A lot of people are saying it's competing with DeepSeek R1. Then Deep Sweep Preview, that's just pure RL on Qwen 3, some further improvements on Sweetbench verified for its size. And then for American open source, we have the 3 billion parameter. Actually, Alex, maybe if you want to open up this other page, while I go over this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we've missed one from the Chinese ones. GLM 4.5 also came out in July, and that was like the first one that you could really just swap out the cloud for, and it could carry. No, not 4.5V. That was
I see.
yeah.
Looks like we did miss one. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5 was the first like really good for web editor, but also agentic work.
Yeah.
On hackathons, people actually like went to competitions and stuff using like Quen and GLM, just running on Cerebrus. Oh, that was also big because you got like 1,500 tokens for coding models. So yeah, I think that was a big change. But,
Yeah, so that was impressive what Niston mentioned. GLM has been doing a lot of cool things this year. But at least what we have on the notes here, so small LM3, that was, I think this is the beginning of the American models kind of starting to come back, and those labs. More recently, we have, Prime Intellect and Alan AI also doing more impressive things. But yeah, the small LM models are cool. And I believe those are fully open as well. The training code, the pre-trained data sets and everything. And you have the reasoning models variants of that too, right below that. And then out of nowhere, LG, like you have in parentheses, the fridge company, which they also make TVs and things like that.
Oh, we made fun of the fridge
Yeah.
company making AI for so long. This was like a running joke. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a set of researchers developing, doing AI research and developing things open source. And so they came out with something impressive, really high score on MMLU Pro for its size, 32 billion parameter model there. Then when it comes to big companies and LLMs and APIs, we have what I was mentioning earlier, ChatGPT agent, Grok 4 Heavy, a private model that I think still hasn't been released publicly in API even, but the OpenAI and Google IMO Gold models, I believe Google did end up releasing something that gets at least silver in the IMO, but not the gold. And here we have White House AI Action Plan, 90 policy proposals for US AI dominance. And that's its whole other thing that would probably take a while to go through. But yeah, but basically just trying to help infrastructure advancements, infrastructure scaling, energy scaling, and so on and so forth. For vision and video, this is a big year and big quarter for multimodality. WAN 2.2, it's an open source model. It could run on a single 4090. It can create pretty decent 5-second videos, 720p, and one of the first mixture of experts-based video models, which also ends up with it usually being able to run more efficiently than the typical models that would fit on a 4090. Then closed-sourced video models, Runaway Gen 3 LF and Runaway Act 2. Both of these really insane. These are some of the first that I saw could actually do things like changing the clothes of a person in a video, changing the background, and just inserting moving objects and realistic physics into scenes that actually looked pretty decent. And I wouldn't be able to tell it was AI if you didn't tell me or if I was looking at it quickly.
Yeah.
Then voice and audio. I think this is the first time Mistral ended up getting involved in audio at all. They ended up releasing state-of-the-art speech recognition, Beats Whisper v3. Higgs Audio v2 also ended up beating GPT-4o Mini and 11 Labs on some metrics like prosody. Refusion and Producer AI, they're lesser known, but they ended up releasing chattable studio producers.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was like one of the crazier things that I had like played around with the show. Producer AI specifically, you could like just upload. Before this, we had Suno. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Ryan Carson, I just had to drop. Thank you for joining us as well. Refusion, let me just get in here super quick. Was one of the coolest things I had to play with on the show live, because you would like talk to a music audio AI and you just like ask it to do some stuff, like, hey, add some drums, like, hey, add this like lyric types. It was really, really cool. And I think like some folks are like underestimating the amount of this release. And I think this was really, really fun for me as well. All right. What do we have left? Tools in here, and then we're going to continue to August. Yeah.
To really briefly add on what you just said, though, I would argue Refusion and Producer AI, the things you described with them, in a way, are almost kind of like the precursors to what Meta is doing now with SAM Audio.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So for tools, this was really the year when I think the first serious AI-based browsers started releasing. I think the first example of that this year was Perplexity Comet, and then later on in the year, of course, you had the OpenAI browser, then Amazon Kiro, spec-driven AI IDE from AWS. I'm not sure if that really ended up gaining much traction.
No, we haven't talked about it since or seen it. Yep.
Yeah, but
this is also a point of the recap, right? We don't know when things release what their impact is going to be. Like if it's Opus 4, we kind of have a feeling. Cloud Code, none of us could like immediately say back in February, like, hey, this is going to change the industry. Like we actually don't know. So it's really interesting to like recap and see some of the stuff fizzled. Many of the stuff got upgraded to a newer model. Amazon Kiro, who remembers this thing at all? Like why was this added and not Nistan? You said there's like a bunch of stuff that we missed on this as well, like the small AFM models, right?
Well, we had Lucas here from Archie a week or two ago, last week, and so they just released their first. They open sourced all their weights for their AFM. It's just a tiny 4.5B that they trained from scratch, and now they're training a big MOE now until January, which is 13 billion active parameters, and I don't know, speculation like 200-300 or something. I don't actually know what the number is, but they went from that to such a big one. So I think that was a bit of a moment for them, and yeah. So our friends made a model from scratch. I think we lost Alex.
No, it didn't lose me. I just thought that I got my Richie Mini in the mail, so I wanted to bring it in, but no, it wasn't Richie Mini. It was Amazon. Sorry. Nistan, you want to take over and take August?
I mean, sure.
Or who was queued up for August? So
I think I was queued up.
Wolfram was queued up.
Oh, Wolfram.
My bad.
Okay, let's cover August 2025. And to put it in perspective, that has been 3 years after I got into AI with the Stable Diffusion moment, just like you, Alex. I think you had the same starting point for this when we went all in AI. So within this short span of time, we are now at GPT-5 already. And it's actually been 32 months since the GPT-4 release, and which also is 32 months of ThursdAI, which is, if you did an episode every week, that would be 128, I think.
Oof.
So a lot of AI news coverage here. And in that month, GPT-5 launched. So it was exactly 32 months after GPT-4. It had a 400K context window, and at $1.25 per million input tokens and $10 per million output tokens, which makes it significantly cheaper than Opus, which was $15 or $75. The special thing about GPT-5 was that it was a unified model, which with a router, so it decided by itself if it should be thinking or non-thinking, instead of the user selecting a specific model for that. And I guess one of the big benefits is for users who don't know what all these models in the model selector are. They just use the default model and it will decide what it does. But as it is always the case with releases, or most often, there was a bit, there were other bugs when it released, and it didn't even select the right model sometimes. So it wasn't thinking when it should be, and the quality was subpar in that way, that situation. But it was fixed later. It had Quizmore, Gmail integration, memory features, so a lot of stuff around the model that improved it. But the writing quality decreased, which I noticed with every release from then on, that they probably used more generated data and less probably copyright the data that they had before. So that was noticeable. Anyway, another release by OpenAI, and one that has been awaited for so long, was that they actually released an open source LLM once more. After GPT-2 was the last one before that, as far as I remember. It was GPT OSS 120B and 20B, so 2 different models, 2 sizes, with configurable reasoning via system prompt, so you could set the reasoning level. It did function calling, web search, Python execution, all you would expect. It gave you the full chain of thought, which you did not get with the online models. And it was great at coding and math, but very weak at creative writing as well. So if you need a reasoner, an agentic model, that would be a great thing. It was very smart and very fast. But if you want to have something for creative writing, then it would not work very well. So you would have to look somewhere else. Google also did something, their Genie 3 word model, which we have shown on the podcast. This is something that you really have to see how impressive it is, where you could move around in a AI-generated room, and you had a brush, and you could paint the wall and then turn away and turn back, and it was still in the same spot, which we had before that. It was always changing, like when you look away and you look back, it was different. So it had persistency. That was very interesting.
Dude, we still haven't got a chance to play with Genie 3.
Yeah.
I'm so salty. Like 6 months after, I really want to play with this model to see if what they gave us was actually real or some like cherry picked like few examples. And apparently like costs so much that it's not for regular humans. But I really want to play with it. Genie 3 was like one of the craziest releases of this year, I think.
Yeah, it definitely was very impressive. And yeah, we didn't get it. We only got it to look at it. What we did get was DeepSeek v3.1, which was a hybrid reasoner. So when Quen released, which we covered before, they were thinking about if they should not make a hybrid model anymore. The Quen release was hybrid, then they discussed it, that they should not do hybrid models. But DeepSeek showed that you can do a hybrid model, which is reasoning or non-reasoning, depending on how you do it in the prompt. So yeah, I think that was a big moment to show that it does work very well. And it matched R1 with fewer thinking tokens. So you see the progress with the intelligence. The models get more intelligent and more efficient. And tool calls inside the thinking process, it did very well on SVE bench verified with 66% versus R1's 44%. And 120K context, MIT license, so very good local model. There were other releases like Seed or OSS 36B from ByteDance, which was Apache 2 license, also with 512K. It was very big context for local models, thinking budget control. We had the Nemotron Nano 9B V2, which was a mixed Mamba and transformer architecture. Cohere Command A reasoning came out, and the Cohere models, I hold them still very dear to my heart because Command R was one of my favorite models before that, and Command A came out at that moment, which was also a focus on agentic, like we said, the year of the agent. You can see it when you look at all the model releases, thinking, reasoning, tool calling. It was all the necessary prerequisites to make agents work even better. GLM 4.5V as well. What did we have as well? We had Hanuan's GameCraft, which did game video generation with physics, where you could run around in the world and change it. Matrix Game 2.0 by Skywork, real-time world model. So world models also started taking off. And what did we have? In AI Art and Diffusion, Nano Banana. That was a Nano Banana. Rumored model doing 3D aware scene editing. That is Quen Image Edit was also there. So it started that we could edit images even better. What OpenAI did with their image model, now it was possible to run it locally. Flux One, Kriya Dev as well. And Agents MD, the standard, started getting, there was an effort to make a standard since we had Claude MD for Claude Code. And
Cursor MD, there was like all of them had their specific ones.
Yeah, right. So to have one standard so you could use same format for every agent, whichever you are using. Yeah, maybe you want to say something about Catnip, weight and biases containerized multi-agent coding workspace. Yeah, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah,
Alex?
Catnip was dope. It was a way to run a bunch of cloud codes, and it's still being developed and worked on, and like it's super cool. Should definitely folks give it a
Looked
try.
very cool too.
Yeah, and so I heard some news over the holiday party at Weights and Biases. There's going to be some updates to Catnip that are very interesting that we're going to cover very, very soon as well. Wolfram, thank you for covering the I don't know how to say this because like it only accelerated from here, but fucking GPT-5 launched finally after like a while. OSS for open source, like from OpenAI. We've been waiting for this for a long time. It's been rumored. We had folks on the show who participated in OpenAI's kind of conversation with open source developers and saying, hey, what should we do? Should we give you a reasoning model? Should we give you this? Should we give you that? So they landed on GPT, OSS 120 and 20B. I would just remind folks that July was also August was also a little bit after we launched the inference service for WNB, and we started participating in Open Router, so you can we host all these great models on the core with infrastructure for you. It was just like a crazy month for sure. It was my birthday month, 32 months since ChatGPT-4 release, 32 months of ThursdAI. It was a crazy month, and we just keep accelerating from there, going to September.
OpenAI moved GPT real-time GA in August. That felt milestone too. And it's funny because the Gemini Flash models on AI Studio still aren't GA. They just keep releasing better and better models. They mark preview, but they're GA on Vertex. So everybody makes their own decisions about when they call something GA or not.
We'll do September. Yam, you want to take September?
Sure, let's go. One moment. Oh man, I got so much. I'm trying to benchmark the new release we didn't report about yet, but where are we?
I'll send you a link. Thanks, Wolfram.
Okay, so why is this small? Okay. So basically we got GPT-5 codex. Okay, we got GPT-5 codex, which is OpenAI's specific fine-tuned model for code. Basically transforming, at least for me, the whole feeling of codex CLI tool, making it much more powerful. And at the time, we didn't get the 4.5 Opus yet, so it was definitely, at least in my opinion, definitely the best option to use. And many people thought that as well. We saw it all over social media, all over X. People were talking about how Codex is a really good solution at this point. We also got a new Meta AI glasses that are to be in the future used with AI, but are at the moment are incredible option for as a POV camera, and in general also as a headset. You can use them for conversations and just like any other headset you have. And one moment, I'm looking at that. It's just the setup is quite small at the moment. Anyway, NVIDIA and OpenAI deal for it basically there was a deal between OpenAI and NVIDIA, if I recall correctly. The way it worked was NVIDIA is investing $100 billion into OpenAI, with the premise of OpenAI using this $100 billion back on NVIDIA services. So basically, you transform the money in a loop and
infinite glitch, infinite
money glitch. The thing is why it's infinite money glitch, because the stock price moved quite a lot because of this move. So it basically generated quite a lot of cash for the party.
Mm-hmm.
This, by the way, started a whole wave of OpenAI deals, financial deals. We're not going to cover all of them at the moment because there were just so many following up this deal. We also got Suno V5, state-of-the-art song generation model from Suno. V4 is already amazing. V5 is even more amazing.
Yeah.
And it's small. One moment.
We got GDP eval that you can cover. Yeah. Where's the GDP?
1 moment.
So I'll cover super quick while Jan picks up. The vision and video stuff also during this during September, which look also crazy. We had we had a bunch of releases. ByteDance Seedream 4 was like state of the art generation. Specifically, it was like 4K resolution videos. It was like quite incredible. We had Lucy from the. I forgot the lab from Lucy. I apologize. There's like too many updates. Lucy, I'll remember. They have a 14B 5-second generation in 6.5 seconds, which is quite insane. So like almost real-time video generation. And one from Alibaba came with a bunch of releases, one 4.5 and 2.2 animate, Kling 2.5 Turbo, and Ray 3 from Luma. It was just like Descartes AI from Lucy. Thank you, Wolfram. It was an insane month from video models. Everybody was trying to beat and to get at VO3. None of them quite got there, but because of some of this is an open source folks definitely prefer the open source video models. But lip sync and motion transfer were added to the models as well. For me specifically, Suno V5 was the place where I just decided I'm no longer going to be able to tell which music was generated with AI and which music was generated by humans. This is it. This is like we've passed the Rubicon on this, and as far as I'm concerned, all music going up was generated by AI because I just had no ability to tell at all. Yam, you wanna finish up here, or you want me to take over?
Sure. We got DeepSeek v3.1 terminus fixed. That is a small incremental update from. Am I? Where are you? Where are you?
I'm trying to find you in September.
This was where it just got too much, and we were barely keeping up every week.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think I missed 1 week, and I was just off. I have to go and watch the show again.
All right, so let me just like land on here. Reve is a tool that I still use for image creation and editing platform, Reve.ai. Shout out to them. They have their own platforms as well for AI art and diffusion. Dr. Feifei Li came up with World Labs Marble. You turn images into walkable Gaussian splats in 3D world. That was like super cool as well. And then Google finally added Gemini to Chrome, although it wasn't agentic. It was just like, hey, talk to Gemini. Understood only the context of the one tab. And then ChatGPT added full MCP support back in September, which was really, really, really great. I think that this is kind of the highlights of September, and then we can cover the quarter summary in like the major themes. So GPT-5 era, open source hits trillion parameter scale. So with Kimi, K2, Quencoder, half a trillion parameter, DeepSeek, and we launched WMB Inference to host these monsters because they're not possible to run locally. 100%. Open worlds became like a big thing during September, during the which Q are we? Q3. Get lost here. During Q3, Google Genie 3, Hunyon, GameCraft, Matrix Game 2, and Oasis all kind of came up and showed that like world models is where it's at. I believe we're not in the prediction of the next year, and I don't think we're going to get there yet because like it's been a long show. But I think that those models like are very, very impressive. And then video and open source moved into Uncanny Valley, although everybody tried to keep up with VO. The investments in September were just absolutely insane. OpenAI's Oracle $300 billion deal, Anthropic raised at a almost $200 billion valuation, and then Meta MSL continued to poach researchers with 100 to 300 packages, 100 to 300 million payout packages a year. this was like we weren't sure if we're talking about the same like number of zeros. I remember like we were discussing how many zeros is $100 million. And then ChatGPT agent, not quite in the browser, but unified, so you could ask the agent from ChatGPT and no longer go to the operator. And then MCP support everywhere. So biggest releases we talked about. That's great, and I think it's time to go to October. And I think Quinn, would you want to cover October? All of October?
No, you guys are way better at covering everything.
Okay,
I have opinions, but I learned from you guys about the month.
All righty, cool. Nistan, let's do October. This is Q4. We started
sure. Let's
Q4.
go. Let's go.
And Q4 was the most absolutely
Q4.
craziest, like of all of them, I believe. So let's go.
All right. So Q4, we got Sora 2. So that was that whole thing got democratized, and the memes are still continuing. You finally got to see a cat being just shooting a bazooka and with a wrench on and a raccoon on his forehead. So this just became mainstream now.
Can we hold on one second? Sorry to interrupt. Can we acknowledge for a second how great of a Sam Altman Nano Banana just added to this infographic? Like this is like literally, whatever is happening behind him, don't look. But like Sam Altman specifically, this is like a great Sam Altman. And I didn't ask for him. Like I didn't provide the reference image. Nano Banana just like added Sam Altman because the big thing about Sora was that Sam Altman's cameo made it explode. You could like use Sam Altman in cameos. Go ahead, Nissan. Sorry to interrupt. I think it was worth calling out.
It is. This model is nuts. I still wonder what they do, but let's not digress because we have got a whole bunch of stuff from OpenAI. We got Agent Kit. They launched ChatGPT apps. I don't know if people use those, but they have 800 million users, so probably quite a lot do. Sora got the API. There was a much cheaper speech-to-speech one, so there was real-time mini, and just the numbers just kept exploding. Another 1.4 trillion in compute deals. It might be scaling up now, scaling down a 0.2 or up, but things really heated up there. So we got a lot on the medical side. So so there was the 27B Gamma model that they used like in conjunction with another different architecture to find to like simulate cancer cells and find different things about them. But they use a very large. This was the first time that they used like a very large transformer model, but also the first time that they validated this on an actual like in vitro on a lab. Again, the AI scientist stuff that has been going, but now that agents got very good, this stuff, we're going to see a lot more of this too. And and I think this is probably the start of proactive AI as a concept. I know not a lot of people are using it, not as much in the open source, but these constant like reminders and timers and it just prompting you. So I think we could say this is the start of the era where AI starts prompting you instead of you prompting it with notifications. Okay, now let's cover a whole bunch of the open source releases because we did have quite a few. Actually, there was also Adobe Max. They integrated the Firefly Video 2. We didn't cover that one as much, or I think I wasn't around at the day. But so open source LLMs. We got DeepSeek v3.2 EXP. This one scored very, very well, and I remember testing this one. It also worked with Cloud Code as a replacement. We got another fridge model. We got Samsung TRM. Is that 7 billion parameters?
7 million.
7. Oh, this was the
Mhm.
really, really tiny research one. We should have looked at this one a bit more. I think we just mentioned it very quick. It's probably worth another second look later on. We got Ling 1 trillion. I don't think anyone used this, although all the benchmarks look great.
Yeah.
But we did get one that a lot of people use now. They still do. A lot of businesses still do. We got GLM 4.6, and this was like the real Sonnet at home. Well, it was expensive. People still suspect. Again, it was Apache license, I think. So people still suspect that this is what the cursor, what is it, composer, is based on. This also got added to. We do know now for sure that Open Code also serves this model by default. So if you install Open Code, this is what they call the big pickle. The actual model listed there. It's GLM 4.6, but they host it themselves. This is a pretty big one for agentic AI, for vibe coding, for open source stuff. Because at the time that this came out, there were a whole bunch of issues with Claude. I think it was like right before Sonnet 4.5 came out.
Yep.
So for about a month or so, this was competitive to the point where people, even if you had a Claude Max plan or whatever else you had, a lot of people were switching to this because it was better. There was like a period of time where open source actually, this one edged it a bit ahead. And if you went with Cerebras, you would also get much faster speed. So this was a very interesting moment, actually. And ServiceNow released another 1.5 to 15B for enterprise open source. I don't know anyone who used these ones, but yeah, we covered this. Oh yeah, and then Sonnet 4.5 dropped super fast. Everyone's still using it. Haiku 4.5 we were very excited in the beginning. Now we kind of aren't. But this was pretty insane. I really liked it. The DGX Spark released, but to a lot of disappointment because of lacking memory bandwidth. So a lot of those promises did not get realized for what it was useful for. And a whole bunch of stuff on vision and video. I'll just quickly go through this. So we got World Labs, RTFM. This one I tried the Alibaba one, but models for 3D printing got very good now, where people are actually using them to 3D print stuff. So point cloud stuff got really, really good. As in, like, production people are just making figurines or whatever, or some businesses with it. LTX2, this one had pretty crazy stuff, but I think, was this one open source? I don't fully remember.
I think they promised to open source it.
They promised to open source it, but it wasn't released.
They did follow up with open source.
And Kandinsky text to video. I didn't try this one. I don't remember.
I remember the thing about Kandinsky is that it wasn't on X at all. It was like a research thing that Pulse found for me somewhere trending on Hugging Face. Nobody from that team is on X. All of them are like 100% Russian. This is like the highlight of that model that I remember. I haven't tried it.
Oh, okay. They had released one last year too. I think they had made like a fine tune, or it was a prune of a model. Okay, interesting. So that jumped to first to Hugging Face. We got voice and audio, Human Octave 2.
I can do that real quick if you want.
Yeah. Because I don't know.
I really like that Hume model. I don't see it used a lot in production. I think it's a good example of how even in the AI space, distribution matters. You build a great product, you got to find the distribution. But maybe in the future, because it's a good model. I don't know the LFM2 audio model at all, which just shows how much stuff happens. But also in October, there was a big new model released from DeepGram, a new transcription model. It was the first transcription model that really feels like it was built from the ground up to be for voice agents. It's not just a transcription model that's trying to run, fast. It has turn detection built in. It has a bunch of other features. There's clearly architectural building blocks they can keep building on for these multi-turn conversation voice agent use cases. It's called DeepGram Flux. DeepGram owns most of the real-time market because they got there first and they have really good models. Again, talking about the value of brand and distribution. And Cartesia released Sonic 3. I think you guys had Cartesia people on the show.
We did, yeah. We had Karan.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great model, and they have caught up to, and I think past 11 Labs in market share for the real-time voice agents because they just focused on latency. And just from the very beginning, they said, our models are going to be fast. We're going to make them as good as we can, but they're going to be fast. And they've gotten better and better and better. And now I think they're the gold standard for, 200 millisecond response time voice output.
Yeah. And they got to less than 50 milliseconds in Sonic 3, I believe. Less than 50 milliseconds. That's what they trained with Mamba.
I'm just gonna say, I love benchmarks, but that's them measuring the inference time, in their inference stack. If you're doing it over the network with the API, it's more like 150 milliseconds. But we all got to publish the benchmarks. We got to publish. They're the fastest, but
they're the fastest.
The server side measurement is not relevant to those who's actually using the API.
Nissan, you want to continue the tools section? I wanted you to cover this.
Yeah, let's finish it. So Cloud Skills came out. A lot of people kind of missed this, but now it's picking up a lot. And I think this is a much bigger deal, even than most people realize, because what it enables, I mean, it can be replaced by other tools as well. But I think what most people are still missing on this one is that it enables a hierarchical context, and it enables hierarchical context building and hierarchical reasoning. And this is the one thing that a lot have not taken advantage of. And I think it's going to become a much bigger deal later on in the year, next year. So I'm just putting this out there as an example. This might just be a really, really big deal, and people are just starting to realize it. But also AMP implemented it. I think a whole bunch of other tools are implementing them as well. So yeah, that's picking up. We got Cursor 2 and Composer. I spoke a bit about that.
Cursor 2, super quick. One thing that I want to call out is we will definitely try. Skills is like MCP level, if not bigger, as far as many people are concerned. And we will try to get you a deep dive into skills early next year in January, so that we'll ramp up on skills. When they came out, we played with them a little bit, but I think it's now getting to a point where it's a bigger deal, and many other labs are understanding. ChatGPT is implementing skills internally without telling us even. So we will definitely go and do a deep dive on Cloud Skills, which is a bad name because if they're not used within Cloud, they're not Cloud Skills. But okay.
Yeah, I think it's the start. I'm just calling it now. I just made up the term hierarchical reasoning, but that's what it allows, and we've kind of seen that early on now. So this might become pretty big. Even though at first it was just a prompt, you just add a prompt. It's just a bunch of MD files. And we got also Cognition SWE. So we started seeing at the end of this that a lot of labs started training their own models. And the open source one until Opus came, but they were training them and they were making them better. And the very interesting thing that we have seen people, they just kind of prefer them for a good part of the job. So yeah, extremely busy month, and things just kept accelerating. We just got more and more and more. Yeah.
Yep. So great, man. Nissan, thank you so much. Let's see, who didn't we have for a while to cover November, and I'll cover December. Yam, were you at the beginning, right? You were February. You want to take November?
Yeah, sure. I just need the notes open.
All
Okay,
right.
so November. It's crazy, man. It's so close. November was just right now.
Yes.
Okay, Gemini 3 Pro. Google reclaims a #1 spot on ARC AGI 2 with this Gemini 3 Pro Deep Think mode and standard mode, roughly double the previous state of the art, which is crazy. Everyone, I I'm not going to talk too much about Gemini 3 Pro because everyone seems to know about it. 1 million context window. Was for a short while undeniably the best model you can use for code. Also, Google gave us anti-gravity IDE, which is its own kind of VS fork that has agentic abilities, AI agentic abilities embedded into it with browser integration into Google Chrome. That allows you to take screenshots for debugging and do all sorts of things right out of the box with Google Chrome, which is not easy at all for all the other agents. That's a very strong selling point. We also got Nano Banana Pro. That is the first model that is not a toy, you can say, allowing for 4K image resolution and natively, and pretty much perfect text rendering for whatever text that you want in the image. And
it's really
just
hard
fun.
to break the text rendering of Nano Banana Pro. The infographics that we're showing, some of them have a little bit of a squishy text, and this is because like we're shoving pages of prompts into this model. It's really hard. Yeah, let me talk. I think that with all my love to you and your excitement, you're not given the proper level of insane excitement that happened of 1 year during this November. And 1 year during this November, as everybody thought the Gemini 3 is going to get released, this is the sequence of event that we covered on the show, and like we covered this with the show. With a span of 1 week, this will happen in November. Grok 4.1 was released, and for 24 hours was the best model in the world on LLM Arena. And then this is like was the day before Google released Gemini 3.0. Google released Gemini 3 Pro. And this like took all over the charts everywhere, and absolutely massive jumps. And then Google probably knew about the fact that they're gonna get sidetracked by some people. The day after this, OpenAI released GPT-5 Codex Max, which was apparently like their like a super focused coding reasoning model that again beat like Sweetbench verified on a few benchmarks and became like #1 coding. Still, Gemini 3 Pro was the best. Gemini, like you said, released with Google Anti-Gravity, and they released also DeepSeek, although didn't launch it yet. And then a day after GPT 5.1 Codex Max, Google came back with Nano Banana Pro. So all of these like big labs were fighting the same week. This is probably the most insane dense week in AI releases, where day after day we got state of the art releases of the major models. We also saw why am I not showing? Let me show you this super quick. We also saw a release of this like Neo 20K humanoid robot that supposedly is gonna be pre-launched the next year, super quick. For $20,000, and this was not all, because Meta released their like ASR stuff, but also Meta released SEM 3 and SEM 3D also that week. We thought this week was over. We covered it on ThursdAI. We thought this week was over, and then Claude decided to like finish off this like one span of a week with Claude Opus 4.5, which we all say is just an absolute beast in coding, absolute beast in creative writing, and everything. So the one single most dense AI releases week in AI happened in October, and this was this, and it was so fucking tiring. Sorry for the one swear that I have this, because we covered all of this. We're also covering AI Engineer conference in New York, and chatting with a bunch of people there, and releasing a bunch of other podcasts as well. This week made me feel that like, hey, maybe naming our podcast with a specific day maybe was not the best idea. Maybe we need to take time. But hey, also we did a bunch of live shows this week as well. Like Gemini 3 Pro launched, and we did like a live show as well. Crazy.
I want to throw out one more, because like it got lost in the noise a little bit. But if you're interested in the future real-time video avatars, Tavis launched like the next generation of their real-time video avatars, which they're calling PALs. And they're amazing, like super responsive, very like good video quality. They've got a bunch of custom built models, including a really good turn detection model they trained in-house. If you go to santa.tavis.ai, you can talk to Santa, and it's
right, that's true.
We've been building like AI Santas since 2023. This is the first one that's like, okay, this is amazing. And, in 2026, we're going to see real-time video avatars, just like we saw real-time voice agents kind of get all the way there.
Quinn, please post that link under under our stuff, and we can post it on YouTube. So I think that is also a big key moment.
Yeah, really was.
Also, just really quickly, because we're over 3 hours now, a lot of people started having their Opus moments, and a lot of people were like very skilled programmers that just like used AI or so. They just started using agents, and even some of the best devs I know that weren't that much into AI started having stuff that this was the first model that they could reliably offload work to. So a lot of people kind of got the message, which we've been saying the last few months. It really hit home for most.
Yep. Yeah, we want to continue, finish up on open source and super quick.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks that we got GPT 5.1, Grok 4.1 and fast, Cloud Opus 4.5, GPT 5.1 Codex, and it was all, and I think, and and Gemini 3 Pro. That's like a week and a half, like back to back. Every day we got something. Yeah, everyone is fighting on coding models. Absolutely. Yeah, open source didn't sleep. Absolutely not. This month we got Kimi K2 Thinking, MinMax M2, Intellect 3, Olmo 3, and Kimi Linear, which is an efficient linear attention model. I can go into all the different benchmarks and which one is better than which, but I don't think we have a lot of time for this. Yeah, so go check them out yourself if you want video and vision. We got Odyssey MLv2, real-time interaction AI video, Sora character cameos that pretty much turns a pet and object into animate characters. Helio 2.3, which is the cinema-grade video generation model.
Hi, Luo. That's how I heard that. Minimax folks taught me to pronounce this. Hi, Luo.
Hi, Luo.
Yeah, it means like
2.3.
Yes,
Yeah.
2.3.
Okay, 11 Labs released Scribe V2 real time.
Let's give Quinn the voice and audio stuff. I think there's a bunch of there. Quinn, this my notes say the Cartesia came out on October, and you mentioned them on September, but yeah, we mentioned this here as well. The omnilingual SR. Did you have a chance to look at this and like play around with meta stuff?
So I've played with previous versions. I did not play with the newest version because there's now so much interesting competition in the ASR space. Right above that bullet point, you've got 11 Labs Scribe, which is 11 Labs' new ASR model. Cartesia has one. We talked about DeepGram Flux. Yeah. Staniax has a great model. Speechmatics has a great model. And Speechmatics is really pushing on diarization. They released a diarization-oriented feature in their model in, I think it was actually in this month as well. And that opens up like multi-speaker voice agent use cases, which is something we're only just starting to scratch the surface of. And then the Minimax speech model is great. It's very good in non-English languages. People really like it. A bunch of PipeCat people use it outside of English language use cases. Chinese model from Minimax, or model from the Chinese company Minimax. So on both the voice and the transcription side, there's like all of a sudden a huge amount of competition. And then NVIDIA with the open source models coming in with like NVIDIA Parakeet.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like bangers after bangers. This.
I think the Parakeet launch was this too, and it became the #1 launch on the Hugging Face, OpenASR leaderboard the day it dropped.
This was a very tiring month for all of us, for sure. And I think, and I'm saying this as we're like 3 episodes into December, and we're already on the 3 and something hours of this podcast. But yeah, let's keep going. Finish up on tools of November 2025.
Sure, Anthropic basically said, all right, MCPs are a really good standard. However, giving the same context about all your tools all the time, no matter what you're doing, to the model is quite expensive. Therefore, they are extending the MCP standard into and allowing for models to use the tools, but through code, through small snippets of code. So the model doesn't need to run the tool, see the input, then see the output, then take a decision. But rather, you can just use the tool, use the output of the tool programmatically in a loop, for example. Then you can do many different calls of the same tool, without wasting tokens. That's the upgrade that Anthropic did to MCP. That was quite a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Windsurf released code maps, basically allowing you to generate maps visually, like chart maps of flow charts of your entire code base for navigation. That you could basically giving you a high level view of the code that is more aligned into the way we write code today, which is AI assisted. You don't really care about the actual code itself, but like general abstract part of the code. First IDE to go into this idea. Terminal Bench 2.0 release, which is a benchmark for terminal use by models for agentic coding evaluation. Not a lot to say. It's a very good benchmark. That is.
I will add Harbor, which is the harness that they released together with Terminal Bench, is a great thing because it unifies how other agents are running on this benchmark, and so other foundational labs started like using Harbor for Terminal Bench, and then like it unified how they're reporting. Everybody else was like doing it differently. So the same tools, etc. Harbor was like a really big deal together with Terminal Bench for sure. All right, folks, this is almost it. We're almost there. After like 3 hours, we've managed somehow to cover. We will be releasing those 2 episodes separately because I don't think that people will sit for 3 hours and listen to a podcast. But we are at December. This is this like 18. Okay, all of what I'm going to cover happened in these 18 days. The notes were prepared before this week, so they don't have the bunch of releases from this week that we covered for the previous first 1 hour of the show. But December of 2025, GPT 5.2. This is the main launch. Let me pull up the infographic super quick because there's a bunch of things. GPT 5.2. They came back with a vengeance after claims that Google took OpenAI's throne. OpenAI came back with a vengeance with GPT 5.2 with 90% of Arc AGI 1, 100%. I'm getting too excited. There's 2 different competing things. I think we reached the limit of Nano Banana Pro. Let me pull up the notes and not read from the infographic. 90.5% of Arc AGI 1 on the Pro extra high configuration. This is like the super duper super mega massive expensive thing that you can pay. I ran 3 prompts through GPT-5 Pro extra high whatever, and I paid like $5. It's like ridiculously expensive, but it's like really, really, really hot. So GPT 5.2 and 5.2 Pro was released. This is OpenAI's answer to Gemini 3 from December, just a week ago. 54 on ArcAGI 2, 100% AIME on competition math. The highlight of that release for me was the MRCR long context, which is the GPT 5.2 holds up to 128K on this long context thing, and the GPT 5.1 falls off after 128K. Lower hallucination rates, 3 tiers, instant thinking and Pro, with Pro being like extremely expensive if you use it via API. The strongest publicly available general purpose reasoning model for sure, GPT 5.2 so far, although I do prefer Opus on many tasks on top of GPT 5.2. There's something in the smell. I can't explain it. It's really hard. DeepSeek finalized version 3.2 because previously it was like experimental, etc. Now DeepSeek 3.2 and 3.2 Special, gold medal reasoning from the whale. We keep waiting for R2. It doesn't seem like they're giving us R2. Maybe over the Christmas break. Maybe there's rumors about this with like NVIDIA stolen. Never mind. There's rumors. We're not going to do rumors, but it's very, very cheap. 28 cents per million tokens on Open Router. MCP was donated to the Linux Foundation. It's now no longer Anthropic's MCP. Linux Foundation is going to own and maintain this alongside with agents.md, and then also I think Goose from Blocks, and all these companies now are participating in the spec. Google is supporting this, OpenAI is supporting this. So this is now a new Agentic AI Foundation, AIF or AAIF, if you will. It's a great thing for all of us, great for interoperability, and I'm like really huge. I'm really hoping that skills are going to make its way over there as well, so everybody can implement skills as well. Mistral 3 in December came back to open source roots and gave us Apache 2 license. Mistral 3, large 675 billion parameters, 41 active, and Ministral 3, which is their reasoning models. Magistral was the reasoning models, but Ministral 3 has reasoning enabled and vision enabled as well, but the vision is not the best there as well. We saw LLMs training in space during December, so the first Nano GPT, I think LJ you said it was, Nano GPT was trained on an H100 rack in a satellite with a US flag in the corner. It was great. We talked about it also ran Gemma. I think one of the cooler releases, one of the cooler updates to how we see copyright is Disney and OpenAI signed the deal wherein Disney invests 1 billion parameter. My head is in parameters. Disney invests $1 billion into OpenAI, and in return, OpenAI can use characters and IP from Disney inside Sora, and then Disney will highlight some of these characters and generations in Disney Plus, which is quite crazy. The licensed synthetic media era has started. Mistral Devstral was also there, and I think basically like. In addition to what we're getting from this week, I think December has been a very awesome month. In open source, we had Essential AI, Runis Ramanujan 1, RNJ 1, Essential run by Ashish Vansani, one of the Transformer authors. RC, Lucas from RC came and talked to us about Trinity, US trained MOEs from scratch. DeepSeek came back with DeepSeek Math v2. News folks, we haven't mentioned many of news releases, came out with Nomos 1, which is a math reasoning Putnam test winning harness and models, and Hunyan OCR. So on the big companies and LLMs, we cover GPT 5.2. Amazon released Nova 2, and Nova 2 was significantly better on enterprise. Open Router released a State of AI report. We talked about this and the glass slipper phenomenon, where people once the model fits. I think Wolfram, you mentioned this. Once the model fits, they are folks are staying with that model. Mistral released a bunch of stuff. And I think that we had Gemini TTS also released. Quinn, I don't know if you have a few words about the Gemini's updated TTS.
Yeah, big Gemini releases, including big update to the real-time model, the TTS model, obviously Gemini 3 Flash. All those are really useful for the world I live in. GPT 5.2 is worse on all my benchmarks, like my personal benchmarks, with like reasoning off. So interesting to see the leapfrogging. Nova 2 Sonic speech model from Amazon, actually really good model, competitive on our benchmarks with GPT Real-Time and Gemini Flash, which is like a big leap for AWS. And the Kyotai, that open source French lab I love so much, they announced a commercial spinoff and $70 million in funding to build voice agent stuff. The commercial spinoff is called Gradium, and they launched TTS and STT models in like December 2nd, which I've only had a little bit of time to play with, but like the work from Kyotai is so good that I'm excited about what they're going to do in 2026.
I did not connect Gradium and Kyotai at all, so thank you for that.
Same team, same founding team. Like the authors on those Kyotai papers are like the founders of Gradium.
Nice. So we had also a huge month in vision and video. So we had Whisper Thunder finally get released. There's like a new model that topped VO3 on some charts, and this was Runway 4.5, number one video leaderboards. That video leaderboard doesn't have audio in it, so this is not like really apples to apples comparison. VO 3.1 is still probably the best overall for lip syncing and audio, but like for actual visuals, Runway 4.5 seems to be a little bit better. We had P image and Z image both in image generation. There was a bunch of stuff. So this list is vast. This is all from December. Isaac and ZAI releasing a bunch of stuff. So voice and audio we covered, and tools. Cursor added visual editing, which is kind of like insane for many people who are doing front end. You can like actually like point and say, hey, in the browser, this thing. Cursor fix this button, this specific thing. Google released Stitch, MCP apps. We talked about, folks. That's a busy December. So quarterly summary. Let's do it all of us together. Big intelligence, big cognitive boost for the whole quarter. Gemini 3 took number 1 in December, but like a bunch of like Opus is now like leading the charge as well. GPT 5.1, just like an insane week in models competing with each other. All of them beating AI me at 100% at this point. All of them are giving just basic coding abilities. The best release of this quarter is, I don't know. For me, it's Opus. I really was happy with Gemini 3, and then I drew this meme when Opus came out, where like the no longer I no longer play with Gemini 3. Opus is my best friend, and then I found out through Nistan on the show that Opus 4.5 is free on Anti-Gravity because Google wants those tokens, and so since then it's just Opus for me. Agents that became products. Oh, we didn't cover Atlas browser as a release at any point, but like, yeah, this was this quarter as well. OpenAI launched Atlas, which is a agentic browser, which was one of the biggest things for me. Agent Kit and ChatGPT apps. Today, by the way, there's also another breaking news release we didn't cover. But ChatGPT apps are now open for submission, so you can build an app and submit it, and they have an app store coming up, like a full-blown app store you can search and install some stuff outside of just like partners. Cursor, Windsurf, AMP, all agentic coding racing via this quarter, just like all of them becoming products. Cursor launched 2.0. MCP is now universal protocol across everything. Everybody uses MCP, everybody supports, and now everybody understands that MCP is not this like golden thing because it blows up the context window. So code mode exists, and now skills exist to replace some of the MCP. So it's very interesting how that works. Google's huge comeback throughout this year, I think, is a very, very big thing we should mention. You guys want to talk about super quick about Google's like massive win this year? Wolfram, I see you on meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really a fan of using it now on my phone because I got a Pixel phone last December actually. And the Google Assistant we had in the beginning, it was like Alexa or Siri. Those AI assistants, they were just keyword matching in a way and doing little things. But now Google, there was a point, like I mentioned, maybe that was when Logan joined. Maybe he was called on board to do it, or he initiated it himself. That Google opened up much more and decided to make AI much more available and useful, not just for some special users, but for everybody. And that is now that people have access. I like Opus as well. It is also my second favorite model right after Gemini 3 Pro. But I have to use it on OpenRouter via subscription. But a lot of people have access to Google models on, like we said, Google Search, Home Assistant, not Home Assistant, but Google Home assistants and stuff. So it's much more available. Much more people are using it. So the intelligence level has been increased. And they are on all fronts with the video stuff, with the models they have. TTS, they also released recently some new stuff in that regard. So Google has really gone all into AI, and they have the resources, they have the hardware, the inference, all of it. So you notice it now, and don't bet against Google, I guess.
They have the TPUs, they have the product surface, they have, I don't know, my Gmail started writing replies for me, where previous I needed like the Perplexity email agent for this. Now they just show up in my Gmail. I just like click send on AI replies. At some point, like the emails we're going to keep sending themselves, people will have full conversation without your knowledge. Google is absolutely leading and winning this year.
How important hardware is, because Google has the Android phones, and you can put AI on them and put it everywhere. That is actually something Apple could have done, even if they hadn't done it themselves. They could have partnered, because you have the phone and then you have an AI device with you. That is the John Ivey stuff we talked about. What kind of device might OpenAI develop? There's nothing that came out of it so far. But Apple has the hardware and Google has the hardware. So both could do a lot with AI. But
so we're still we're doing like a recap of the quarter itself. Google is absolutely like doing just like absolutely wonderful stuff. LDJ, you have a comment on DeepMind? You're muted.
Sorry, yeah. So on the comment of DeepMind, I think it's interesting. A lot of people were worried about all the bureaucracy that was maybe built up in DeepMind and Google over the years. But a thing that people point to sometimes, which may be a reason why they've been able to make such a comeback, is people like Sergey Brin coming back to Google and kind of making a resurgence and going into founder mode. And a lot of stories and people reporting things like really stupid rules that the researchers were being held back by during organization debates of where to spend compute, or even just getting approval for things that he was able to just knock down and make more efficient. And I think they are kind of going more into this startup era, luckily, where it's kind of becoming more efficient and talent dense, like Anthropic and OpenAI is. And I think they really have a chance again. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely, Google is crushing it. Quinn, you have a short comment for us on this quarter as well?
Yeah, I mean, this quarter, my personal benchmarks got saturated, which is super exciting. And that was never true before. Like the benchmarks I care about, like I don't want reasoning turned on. I want really fast time to first token. I care about like 30 turn and longer conversations. I need tool calling. Models even this year, first half of this year, were kind of bad at all that stuff. But now we have 3 models, Claude, Sonnet, Gemini, 3 Flash, and GPT-5.1 that saturate my personal benchmarks, which is awesome. Arguably the best model for what I care about was still GPT-4o halfway through the year. Maybe Gemini 2.5 Flash if you could prompt it to do the tool calling. But now all I want is like faster time to first token from these frontier lab models.
So out of GPT 5.1, Gemini 3 Flash, and Claude Sonnet 4.5, which is the fastest time to first token that you currently see?
So I think it's going to be Gemini 3 Flash, but it's so new they're still deploying TPUs for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, folks. So this was basically a yearly recap. We made it. Woohoo! We made it. But we couldn't have made it without additional breaking news. So I think it's a very fitting way. We love breaking news here on ThursdAI, and I think this is a much fitting after 3.5 something hours live on the show, trying to recap the whole year, that we have breaking news from OpenAI. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's do the breaking news super quick, and then we'll finish up. We'll end this thing. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. All right, in breaking news, probably to finish off the year, OpenAI has just announced a release of Codex 5.2 Max, I believe. Let's pull this up. Sam Altman said Codex is getting extremely good and will rapidly improve. If you want to help make it, team is hiring. No, that's not what we want. Okay, we want this. These models, cybersecurity win. Codex 5, GPT 5.2 Codex beats GPT 5.2 on accuracy, and just released like a week and a half after. Specifically for agentic coding and terminal use, people at OpenAI have been having great success with it. That's basically Sam Altman. Where's the actual release? Let's look at some numbers.
I sent a link in the StreamYard chat.
Okay, yeah. Give me a sec. Yes, send me here. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's take a look at 5.2 Codex Max and whether or not it's going to replace Opus or other things for agentic coding. I love how OpenAI's blog, when you zoom in, doesn't zoom in. Okay, there we go. GPT 5.2 Codex, most advanced agentic coding model yet for complex real-world software engineering. Version of GPT 5.2, further optimized for agentic coding in Codex, including improvements on long horizon work. Stronger cybersecurity capabilities. Where do we see some numbers? Terminal bench, 64 on terminal bench, 2 points higher than GPT 5.2 itself. Swebench Pro, which is a very, there's like Swebench Verified. Swebench Pro is a significantly higher and more difficult task than Swebench Verified. Getting state-of-the-art 56% on there. Eking out a 1% difference from GPT 5.2. Stronger vision performance, accurately interprets screenshots, technical diagrams, and charts. Here's a design mock, and then it turns it into an actual thing. That's pretty cool. And Cyber Frontier. Yeah.
Look,
cool.
This is a pretty big, like 5 to 7%. It's a pretty big jump, considering that a lot of people still kind of trust Codex to fix the hardware bugs.
Yeah.
Even with Opus. So I think this might be a pretty significant jump here. We'll see how it does agentically, but this looks quite good.
But like with every release that just happened, we're gonna read out the metrics to you, and then we're gonna test it out. Like with Opus, we knew that Opus was gonna be big, but since then Opus took over. But this may be the new one. Available in Codex as well. Folks, I think it's time, 3.5 hours in, to mention that, hey, this has been the ThursdAI yearly recap. This is everything that happened this year. It was an absolute bonkers year of releases. Just that 1 week in fucking November just almost broke me as a person who's like, his full-time job is to cover and follow AI releases and make it clear that, and make it easy for you as well. I will highlight a few things as we're like ending up on the year. This is our last regularly scheduled program of the year. The yearly release will get released on the podcast probably after a week. There's no way to do this today, but it's been an incredible year for me on ThursdAI as well, and I want a huge shout out, like a huge thanks to all of the co-hosts and friends of the pod, experts like Quinn who come and like tell us from their perspective, and just like every one of you who tunes in and listens and participates and sends us links and tells us when I meet them face to face that, hey, ThursdAI is the way they keep up to date. They like walk on a walk, they wash dishes, whatever, and they don't have time to keep up with the news, and it's getting harder and harder to keep up with the news, and this is why we exist. I'm very, very happy to have also this year stepped up the production value for ThursdAI. The episodes are higher quality, the videos higher quality. Many folks here got mics, which is also great. And generally, I think just been a great ThursdAI year as well. So with this, I just want to wish everyone a beautiful, incredible, very happy holiday season. I am pretty sure that the Chinese labs will not quiet down because they don't celebrate Christmas. So expect a bunch of other releases by the end of this year. Maybe DeepSeek is going to try to break the stock market again. Incredible year of releases. Everything that we've talked about is publicly available. We open source all of it, all the episodes, all of the infographics, all of the prompts that I made the infographics with. So my prompt maker for the infographics is also open source on the GitHub repo. I'm going to add this in the show notes. If you want to achieve state-of-the-art infographic performance with Opus and break Nano Banana Pro, feel free to do so and let me know. Everything that we talked about here will be available on ThursdAI.news. So please don't forget to subscribe. As a Christmas present, please send one friend that is not up to date to AI on AI a link to our show. And if you want to give us a little Christmas present, holiday present, 5 stars everywhere where you listen to podcasts would be amazing. This is the best way to support the podcast, besides telling your friends about this. This is it, folks. This is the end of the year for us. It's been an insane year in AI. I'm assuming, Elon Musk gives 10% of AGI next year, or for Grok 4. We'll see. Maybe Grok 420 is going to release by the end of this year. We don't know.
And we finished the year off still 4.9 star rated on Apple Podcasts.
Oh,
so let's go.
5. Who's the person who gave us less than 5 grand?
It was last year. It was before that.
All right, folks. Thank you so much, all of you. Happy holidays. If you celebrate Hanukkah, today is candle number 5. If you don't, Christmas is coming up very soon. I don't know if we have Kwanzaa listeners. Generally, enjoy the rest of the year, and we'll see you guys in 2026. Let's go.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
And a good start in the new year. This
was amazing. Thank you all for joining. This is a long one, but hopefully it was fun for all of you as much as it was fun for me. Cheers. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.